hello.
Good morning, Brenda. I gather you have a consumer problem. Tell me all about it without naming any company names, please.
Well, I'm a widow and I've got 2 daughters and 7 grandchildren. I've lived in this house, in a council house, for 47 years. I have a flat roof bedroom, which is over top of my outhouse and shares it with my neighbours who are private. And I reported the leak on the roof on the 9th of March.
Sorry, what leak?
Well, what happened 3 years ago, I had a leak come through the flat roof, which was just patched, not repaired properly.
And what did you say that the flat roof, what room is inside the room with the flat roof?
It's a bedroom that's over top of the outhouse of mine and my neighbour's shed.
Right, okay. And 3 years ago there was a leak in there?
Yes, and they patched it.
Okay.
But instead of doing, a correct sort of roofing repair, it was just patched. So now, what's happened, the roof gained a really huge hole and leaks, and practically all the roof now is leaking. I reported this on the 9th of March when all the rain poured and poured through the ceiling. They came out and put tarpaulin on in the gales and the rain. I've just discovered today that there's holes in the tarpaulin. That's why it's all been pouring through again. And I've reported. There's been a lot of errors. I had the council come round to me and they said, we've come to see your lounge ceiling. I said, no, it's the bedroom ceiling. So they went up there, took photographs, etc. Never heard a thing. And this has been going on for a couple of months. I wrote to my counsellor and I was told to email and it was ignored. I put in a formal complaint to the council. That's been ignored. There's been a lot of errors where they've been coming out to do something to my roof and then they turn around and say, we can't do anything. And
what do you mean in particular with regard to that? So you saying the contractors who turn up, when they turn up and they look at it, they say we can't do anything?
Yes, literally.
And have they said why? What's the problem that they see when they actually come out to the property?
They just say, oh, it's a bigger job than what we thought, so we're going to put in for some quotes to get another company to come out and do the roof.
Okay.
So I've heard about these quotes for the last 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm. And in the meantime, I mean, you mentioned that they put some tarpaulin over it that then had holes in it. Have they now rectified that? Because, of course, we had a lot of rain last night. Did the rain come through last night or not?
The rain absolutely poured through.
Oh, no.
And the bedroom was like a swimming pool. And all they did last night when I called them out was leave me a big bucket, and it was pouring through. I was in tears. I didn't know what to do. Anyway, my daughter was here and she was emptying it until she had to go. She had to go home. This is 1 o'clock in the morning. Then I went in there last night to empty, the bucket, and it was so full. And bear in mind that a whole roof was leaking by then.
Yeah.
So I've got leaks all over the roof.
Oh, my God.
And there's so much water in there that I got a hold of this bucket and I slipped on the water, fell, and I've now hurt my hip and my back, and all the water went all over me.
The bedroom, is the bedroom on the ground floor?
No, it's upstairs.
But then surely the water is going through the floor, is it not, into whatever room is underneath?
The room underneath, as I said to you, is the outhouse, the shed, so it's concrete flooring.
Okay.
They did put scaffolding up about 3 weeks ago, but I think that was to shut me up because I'm on the phone nearly every day complaining. So
yes, but I'm not surprised. Based on what you're saying, this is absolutely outrageous. If you are, and you're a full council tenant, yeah?
I've been here 47 years.
So the landlord is the council in your case.
Yeah.
And having had a very significant leak in the roof for 2 months, they still haven't fixed it, and you're still having to try and deal with buckets. I mean, that's absolutely ridiculous.
I'm still in the worst position now than I was when I reported it on the 9th of March.
Well, it's absolutely crazy. I mean, we haven't had any rain recently up until yesterday,
no,
which must, I was going to say, I mean, thank goodness for you. That must have been a nice little kind of break from it all. But this week, I mean, there's quite a lot of rain forecast. Yeah. So you don't want to have the stress of this all week. No, it's absolutely crazy.
The council phoned, because they've been round this morning, but they said, we're the internal people, we can't do the roof. So they went off and gave me a name to call. So I called this name. Mm-hmm. Anyway, he's coming out this afternoon, and he said there's holes in the tarpaulin. That's why it's not holding. So they're going to take all that off and just put a hardboard on the roof and then put the tarpaulin on again, as they are still waiting for quotes to come and do my ceiling and my roof, rather.
Have you told them you're coming to me and my programme?
Yes,
okay.
I have.
Good. Okay, so they'll be expecting us.
Yeah, I have. I have told them that I'd be in this afternoon. They're going to do that for me. But for 2 months, when I talked to them this morning, I said I've heard all this so many times.
Okay. So, well, look, we need to go and have a word, because this is absolutely ridiculous. How on earth could they leave somebody in this predicament for in excess of 2 months? That's absolutely, I just can't believe it.
I know.
And it sounds
I'm a widow as well, so I'm living on my own.
Well, I mean, that just means you've got no one to share it with, and it's even more stressful. So, I mean, you poor thing having to go through all of this on your own. Now, look, what I'm going to do, I'll pass you back to Tara. We'll get some detail, and I promise you I will speak to that council this afternoon and find out what on earth they're playing at, OK?
OK, thank you.
All right, Tara, I'm passing Brenda back.
Yeah, the pictures are pretty bad. I think we've sent them to you as well, Jonathan. I don't know if you've had an opportunity to have a look at them. But they are pretty bad. So, there is obviously a lot of damage to this ceiling now. Absolutely, and needs correcting. Unbelievable.
OK, hang on there, please. I'm going to pass you back to Tara. We'll get some detail. We'll go and have a word, OK? Now, Tracy's son kept telling her there was a problem with her hearing. So she booked in for an appointment to see if her ears needed to be syringed.
The service cost me £60, and they advised me that I should go to one of the high street hearing centres and actually go and get my ears tested as the next sort of step. And the audiologist said it was partially full of wax and obscuring the ear canal. And I said, oh my goodness, I've only had an appointment 9 days ago to have wax removed, and they told me my ears were completely free of wax, both of them. I said, could this have accumulated in sort of 9 days? And she said, absolutely not.
Well, Tracy got in touch with the company that she'd paid the £60 to and explained the situation, but she said she just could not get them to come back and to syringe her ears. And in the end, she said, look, right, I've had enough of this. I'm going to go and get my ear cleaned elsewhere, and I want you to pay for it. Well, they weren't prepared to do that either, which is why Tracy came to me. Tracy's back on the JVS show now. Hello, Tracy.
Good morning, Jonathan.
Good morning to you. Now, this is a very interesting one, and I'm suspecting we may well be dealing with a company that has been formed by people that don't necessarily have very much experience of running companies. It may well be that they've had lots of experience in the past with syringing ears, but running companies I don't necessarily think is their forte. And the reason why I say that is because of the response that I've had. When I first contacted this company on your behalf, they said that they came out, had a look at your ears, and they were completely clear of wax.
Yeah.
The lady said that when you then contacted them to say that you'd gone elsewhere and that one of your ears was half full of wax, she said, we've offered to go back and to have a look, and if Tracy really wants us to clear them out, we'll go back and clean them out, but she won't let us go back. I said, well, that's very strange because that's completely at odds with what Tracy's told me. No, we've agreed to go back, she said. But she said, we're not prepared to give her money back because we feel as if she just wants money. Well, when I put that to you, you were most annoyed because you said at no point have they ever said they would come back. So I called them again and I spoke to this same lady, and she this time had completely changed her tune. Not actually offer to go back and to clear the wax. She said that when she'd had the conversation with me the day before, she was in IKEA and she couldn't really hear what I was saying, which seems very strange because she seemed to understand and hear perfectly what I was saying, and she seemed perfectly to be able to understand the situation, and she was the one that assured me numerous times that they'd offered to go back, but you'd refused them that opportunity. Well, she then went on and said, the only way Tracy's going to get her money back is if she takes us to court. And with that, the phone went dead. Well, I tried to phone back. I left a message on the answer phone just in case, the phone had cut off. No attempt to return my call whatsoever. The company's Facebook page then seemed to vanish. Now, I haven't actually checked it today to see whether it has reappeared. Have you had a chance to see if the Facebook page has reappeared for this company?
No, I checked on Sunday and it hadn't, but I haven't. No, I haven't checked since then.
No, it's still not up and running. The company concerned was a company called Ear Care Bedfordshire. It only seemed to exist on Facebook. I know there's a business card that has been circulated. A few people have sent me a photograph of this business card that simply gives a mobile number and first name, not even surname of anyone involved. So taking them to court was going to be very difficult. But after our conversation last time, I know you had something else up your sleeve. You knew where the two ladies happened to work during their day job. And I gather you made contact with them and suggested that you may have to take it further unless you received your money back. And I gather, miraculously, things happened. What's going on now?
That's correct. After I got off the phone to you, I was going to start researching a way of finding their surnames to take them to a small claims court. And I thought, you know what? I'll just give them one more chance to willingly give me that information. So I text both the mobile numbers and I just said, I understand you've told the consumer programme the only way I'll get a refund is to take you to a small claims court. Please could you provide me with your surnames and business address so that I can pursue you through the small claims court. And then I just went on to state, alternatively, I'll have to approach, the company that you work for. Within an hour, I had a response from one of the ladies saying, without prejudice, it remains our clinical opinion that your ear assessment was justified. However, we are now prepared to refund £35 as long as you confirm the refund will close the matter permanently and you will not make contact with either one of us. So I messaged them back and said, thank you for your message. The only refund I'm prepared to accept at this stage is the full refund of £60. And I will otherwise I'll happily go to the small claims court. Provided you do make a full refund, I can confirm I will not pursue you through the small claims court and I won't have any need to contact either of you again. And I got a message saying the refund will be paid into your account by close of business tomorrow. And it was. I had a full refund of £60 in my account by today.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
It may well be that the ladies that have been running Ear Care Bedfordshire that now seems to have vanished from Facebook, it may well be that from a business perspective they were a little bit out of their depth.
I agree.
Because this situation could have been handled so differently. It really could have been handled differently. And if they are going to pursue this line of doing private ear work in terms of syringing people's ears privately, then they really do need to think about their business strategy in terms of how they are going to deal with customer complaints. They should automatically, when you first complained to them, they should have said, Well, that's very strange, because when we came to have a look at your ear, in our professional opinion, we believe that your ear was clear. However, let us organise another appointment. Let's come back out. Let's have a look. If in fact there is wax in the ear, then of course we will do what you've already paid us for, and that's to syringe it. However, we certainly were very, very sure when we came out before that your ear did not at that point require syringing at all. They should have done that. If they'd done that, to be honest, as a customer, you wouldn't have really had anywhere to go. That would have been a perfectly reasonable response. And you would have been absolutely duty-bound to give them that opportunity. But they didn't. And then when I got involved, they then started telling me one thing one day and then something completely different the next day. It's not a good way to run a business, and I very much hope lessons have been learnt. However, that said, you have now got your money back.
Thank you very much.
Good.
For your help.
Well, thank you for letting me know what happened after our last conversation. And to the ladies that were running Ear Care Bedfordshire, that now seems to have vanished from Facebook, thank you for refunding this customer. Now, Sue's cooker is about 3 years old. Everything was fine with it up until recently.
The bottom oven, so the main oven, suddenly packed up. So I emailed. I couldn't get through on the phone. It just gave a constant message. So I sent about 3 emails and nothing. And in the automatic email back, it said, we aim to contact you within 24, 48 hours. And this was a few weeks ago now. And I have sent 3. And I even reminded them in the last email of the Consumer Rights Act 2015, etc., but nothing. And nothing on the phone either.
So why is Sue having so much difficulty getting hold of this company? Well, let's find out, because she's back on the JVS show. Hello, Sue.
Hello, Jonathan. How are you?
Well, I'm very well indeed, thank you, Sue. Let me just start off by saying I think you should consider yourself extremely lucky you've had 3 years use from this cooker.
Oh, okay.
Now, can I just ask, before I go any further... Has the company made any attempt, since you appeared on my programme and since I have tried to make contact with them, have they made any attempt to contact you?
Nothing. Not a dicky bird. Nothing at all.
That's what I expected and anticipated, but I just thought I'd better check with you. Because I have contacted this company by telephone, by email, and I've had absolutely no response whatsoever. And I don't think you, me, or anyone else is alone. And I don't know, did you, when you first purchased this cooker from this company, because they're not local, I'd never heard of them before, how on earth did you come across them?
I honestly can't remember. I think I probably...
Did you just Google cheap cookers?
I don't think I Googled cheap cookers, but I'd maybe Googled, because I'd had an electric cooker before. I've always had gas, and it was a very new thing for me. So I probably put in electric cookers, and maybe that came up with it. I mean, I wish I'd stuck with a well-known...
Yes.
Yes.
The reason why I point this out is that if we go onto the internet and we do a search for any product, if you look hard enough, you will find companies out there selling stuff quite cheaply, but they are companies that you've never heard of.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes you might strike lucky. You might end up buying from a company that you've never heard of that actually turns out to be quite good. Unfortunately, most of the time, in my experience, and I'm obviously only dealing with the complaints that come in, but most of the time, some company you find on the internet is very, very likely, unless they are a good, reputable company that has years of providing good quality customer service and aftercare for its customers, you're possibly going to find yourself in a predicament where you've got a problem and you can't get the company to sort it out. And in fact, if you look this particular company up, the reviews are absolutely dreadful.
Yes, I did see a couple of those. Yes.
They're dreadful. Absolutely dreadful. So if anybody does now look this company up, I think if they do their homework now, there's no way they'll be buying anything from them. The company concerned is powerdirect.co.uk. Now, powerdirect.co.uk, their website doesn't seem to work.
No.
The company officially is Power EC Limited, and they're based in Morley in Leeds. And if you, as I say, if you do a little bit of research, you will see so many people saying, do not purchase from this company. I've had a problem with it. It's a nightmare. Avoid them. It's a rip-off. It's a scam. They're scammers. Avoid. Absolute poor service. Where is the 0-star option? Do not use this company. It's just a nightmare. So you are not alone.
No.
And I therefore think your ability to get this company, who don't even seem to have an active website at the moment, which is very concerning, to try and get them to repair your cooker, I think is probably highly unlikely.
Yeah.
So let's see where we go from here. Let's work on the basis that your cooker is repairable. Have you managed to find an independent domestic appliance engineer who can come out and have a look at it for you?
No, I thought I'd wait to see what you could find out, in the hope that you could work your magic, as you always do.
Well, I can work as much magic as I like, but when I'm dealing with a company that doesn't even seem to have an active website, based in Leeds, that have huge numbers of very unhappy customer reviews, there's not very much I can do. So let's just work out what we are going to do. I think what you now need to do, the cooker, how much was it again?
It was around about, or just under 350. It was something in that region. I can't remember exactly.
£350. And I don't want anything that will identify it, but is it a good brand?
It's a fairly well-known brand.
Okay,
I'm sure
fine.
You will have heard of it. Yeah.
So it's worth repairing, is what I'm getting at.
Yes, I would think so. It depends how much they are going to charge me for their labour and the parts, etc.
Yes.
If it can be. But yes, I would have thought so.
Well, I think all you can really do is to speak to a domestic appliance engineer, get them to come out and have a look at it, see whether it's worth repairing, and then write to powerdirect.co.uk, trading as, well, that's what they trade as, but the company's actually Power EC Limited.
Yeah.
Send them the bill. But I think you're, whether you then actually get any money from them to reimburse you for how much it has cost to try and repair this cooker, it all depends on the status of the company. And at the moment, I can't say I feel particularly confident about the company.
No. I mean, I wonder if they've ever been taken to small claims then, or...
I have no idea. They may well have done, or they may well be a company that is about to disappear. Who knows? All I can tell you is they're not responding. They haven't bothered to answer the phone. I mean, when you try and phone them, they just don't answer the phone. They haven't responded by email. There's absolutely nothing at all. And there are lots of people who are suggesting that they are in a similar kind of position and just cannot get this company to respond.
Yes, I know. Okay, all right. Well, I will find out about having it repaired. In the meantime, I will also possibly look at buying a new one.
I was going to say, I think what I would do if I was in your position, what I would do is twofold. Firstly, I would find a good local domestic appliance cooker engineer.
Yes. Contact
him, explain the situation, explain the symptoms, and say, how much will it cost you to come and have a look at it? What do you think it's likely to be? Because what I don't want to do on a 3-year-old cooker that cost me 350 quid is to start spending hundreds of pounds getting it fixed. I'd rather just know now if it's unlikely to be very fixable, because I'll just go and get another one.
Yes.
I think that's the best bet. Yes. Then you know what it's going to cost you to sort it out. And then at that stage, what I would be inclined to do is to then send that company the bill for how much it has cost me to put right and to see how I get on.
They do have an address up in Leeds.
They do, yes. They seem to have a physical shop there.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I will do that, Jonathan. And thank you very much for your help in trying to contact this.
Well, I mean, look, I have named the company now in the hope that, I mean, their website doesn't even seem to be working anyway. So in terms of anybody also purchasing anything from that company, I think it's fairly unlikely unless they happen to drive up to Leeds and they happen to go into their shop. But again, I just, as a bit of advice for everyone listening to the programme, please, when you're buying stuff, particularly important things like cookers and appliances for your house, please always buy from good, reputable companies, preferably local companies, where they've got good customer service, and you know that if a couple of years down the line you have problems, you'll be able to go back to them and they'll be able to help you out. Please be very careful about just ordering stuff from companies that you find on the internet that you've never heard of, because you may well find yourself having an absolute headache years down the line. Can you please keep me in the loop and just let me know what happens, Sue?
Yes, I will. And thank you again. And thanks to Tara and Laura and all the team. Thank you.
Well, it's a pleasure, and I'm sorry that we've been unable to make any contact with them. And powerdirect.co.uk, if you do want to respond, Power EC Limited, if you want to respond to this complaint, if you want to do the right thing and resolve it, or if you want to address any of the comments that have been made on the programme regarding your company today, then do feel free to give me a call. Now, Amanda's mum, June, decided to have her luxury Regency-style sofa recovered. Originally, she was going to have it properly reupholstered, but it's quite awkward to get in and out of the house, so she found a company that could make loose covers for it instead.
A representative measured up, and my mum chose some striped fabric, a 1 centimetre striped Regency fabric. And then she was advised at the time that due to the bow of the sofa, the style of it, there could be some pleating, but she wasn't advised how much or where it would actually be on the sofa. In total, it's £742, so it wasn't a cheap option. But when the covers arrived and they were fitted by the representative, you could see there on the top of the bow of the sofa, there are 4 large pleats that have been machined at the top, and they're all facing the same direction. So it completely ruins the effects and distorts the stripes. The arms do not fit flush to the sofa, and there's a lot of puckering around the arms. You know, it was a lot of money, and it should have been something that's quite a centrepiece in the room, is now covered up with a throw.
Well, both Amanda and her mum have been back to the company and have complained about it, but they weren't prepared to do anything, which was most odd, really. And when I saw the photos of the furniture with these covers on, I was in absolute agreement with Amanda and her mum. I wouldn't have been happy with it either. Amanda's back on the JVS show. Hello, Amanda.
Hello.
Amanda, now this furniture, it's posh furniture, isn't it? It's the kind of sofa that you would imagine Her Majesty the Queen has. I can imagine Her Majesty sitting on the sofa just like this with a corgi or two. And because of the shape of it, to have loose-fitting covers made what should be a beautiful piece of furniture, to be honest with you, look dreadful. The arm covers were all loose and saggy. There were all these pleats at the back of it. It just completely ruined the look of the furniture. Now, I was amazed that when you'd contacted the company, and they are a well-known company, when you'd given them the opportunity to sort it out, I'm surprised at no stage did they say that they could redo them. They just said that what you'd got was what you'd paid for, and that was pretty much the best they could do. Am I right?
Yeah, you are. And until your show got involved, and then when we did speak to them, then they did offer to remake them in a different fabric for us. But you're absolutely right. At the time, I think my mum had tried for nearly a year, and they just said, they were completely satisfied with the standard. They were as they were, and they just thought it was a dressing issue. My mum wasn't actually putting them into place correctly, but they were dressed as the upholsterer had actually dressed them.
But you can only dress something so well if the arm covers are too baggy. I mean, this is a piece of furniture where the material needs to be tight over the, I don't know whether it's foam or springs or whatever that would be underneath it, presumably some kind of foam pad, but it needs to be pulled tight. It can't be all saggy. I mean, it's just not that kind of furniture. Anyway, to cut a very long story short, I got in touch with the company. They did apologise and said that they would be in touch with you and they would sort things out. And in fact, what they agreed to do was if you sent back the covers, for some strange reason, they wanted these covers back. I mean, quite what they're going to do with them, I don't know. But they said if you sent the covers back, they would then give you a full refund. Now, I know that you did indeed get the covers back to them. What's happened since we last spoke, Amanda?
Mum's received the cheque in full, so we have £742 has been refunded.
Fantastic. Right, okay. So she's now got that money in order to get somebody else out. Now, last time we spoke, you'd made some inquiries with an upholsterer. Has anything happened in terms of getting him to take the furniture away and get it properly reupholstered?
Yeah, well, she's just reviewing different fabrics and different choices at the moment. So, yeah, she's been in contact with an upholsterer, and and we'll just take it from there. But so she's looking at some fabrics, but it can be done, and she'll have it properly reupholstered this time.
Good. But that is going to mean trying to get the furniture in and out of the... But I'm surprised that you said it was difficult to get out the door, because it doesn't look that bulky. It looks quite petite furniture.
It is. It's just extremely wide, and so it has to go through the external doors, are double doors, which is fine to get them out, and then it actually goes over to get it out of the garden, has to go over a fence panel to actually get it out. So it is quite a tricky operation, but it can be done. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Where there's a will, there's a way. And it's certainly worth doing it because you want the furniture to look nice. You don't want saggy old covers on it.
Absolutely, absolutely. But, you know, we are completely in debt to you and the radio station, your listeners, for all the support that you've given us in this matter. And it's been a long time, but at least Mum can get some closure now. And it's an amazing result. Thank you so much.
Great. Well, it's an absolute pleasure to help you. We will thank the company. We'll give them the horn. Amanda, any other problems, you know where we are. Larry, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Jonathan.
Good afternoon. I gather you have a consumer problem. Tell me all about it without naming any company names, please.
Yeah, no problem. Right. On the 26th of April 2018, I bought a tumble dryer. It cost $229.99 and worked perfectly until... I think it was the 15th or 16th of April this year, when the drum would keep going, but there was no heat. So I phoned the company that I bought it from, and the first thing they asked me was whether I had an extended warranty or a service plan of any description. I said no, I didn't have anything then. I did advise them that I knew about the Consumer Rights Act, and after waiting about 5 minutes while she said she was opening a case file or something, she said somebody will be in touch with me within 7 days. So after the 7 days, I never heard from them, so I phoned them again, and I got asked the same questions, had I got an extended warranty or service plan, to which I said no. They kept me on hold for about another 5 minutes and said somebody would contact me within 3 days. After the 3 days, I phoned again, and strangely enough, that was the day your team phoned me first off, and the following day I got a letter from them acknowledging that I had a complaint. They knew about the Consumer Rights Act, and they offered me a payment of £72.73 in full and final settlement. It would be made by way of payment of a payment voucher to be used in their shop. Mm-hmm. The following day I actually received a letter which was apparently the replacement or the product replacement payment reference number or warranty product. So they obviously didn't wait the 7 days before they sent it to me, and I don't know whether it's because they've sent it, whether that is their end of their matters with them. Because I'd been in touch with you, I wanted advice from yourself before I contacted them again.
Yes.
The one thing I don't agree with is not so much the amount they've offered, because I understand from listening to your programme before, you know, about the wear and tear over the 35 months I've had it. I accept the value, but one of the things that does bug me is the fact that it's a voucher which can only be used in their store.
Yes, I mean, it's nothing to do with wear and tear. What it's to do with is the use that you have had from the product.
Yeah.
So it's perfectly reasonable for them, if they want to take into account the 3 years use you've had from the product and deduct reasonable usage from any kind of refund they're giving you. But you're not happy because it's in voucher form.
Well, it's not only that, but they didn't ask me what was wrong with it, and also in the letter it says, in this case, we would class your product as beyond economical repair, and therefore in accordance with the Consumer Rights Act, blah, blah, blah. The thing is, they never asked me what was wrong with it, so how do they know it's beyond economical repair? That I don't agree with.
Well, I think they probably are basing it beyond economical repair because it was not a very expensive tumble dryer in the first place.
Oh, was it not?
Well, I don't think so. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think back to when I bought my tumble dryer, how much it cost. Let me just have a little look. Let me go on to a well-known company and just have a little look for tumble dryers, because that will give us an idea as to £229. What's that likely to buy you? Is it going to buy you something very good quality or something kind of lower end? My gut feeling is it's probably at the lower end of the market. Let me just have a little look. Price low to high. So I'm on a well-known electrical store. So the cheapest... Oh, okay, that's interesting. So the cheapest one that's on the market at this department store is £159.99.
Right.
And then we go up to... Where are we? So we're now up to about the price of yours, £229.99. Let's keep going so that we get an idea of how much you can spend on what would be considered an excellent quality one. $599, $649.
Oh, sure. I didn't know they got as high as that.
Oh yeah, I think you can spend in excess of £1,000.
Really?
£1,999.99 seems to be the best one this company sells.
Is that gold plated, that one?
So, the reason why that's quite useful and it's quite important to do is we need to see the context of your £229.99 in terms of what you can expect.
Yeah.
Now, the one that's £1,999 is from a product that suggests their products are designed to last for 20 years.
Right.
Okay. So if we're looking at that as being the 20-year benchmark, what can we expect from a tumble dryer that costs £229.99? I think, based on normal use, I think the maximum you could ask for would be, well, at least 5 years.
Gotcha. Can I just say one thing before we go further? On the front of the machine, it does actually say there's a sticker there. It says guaranteed 10-year parts and a free phone number to register it. Now, whether I did or did not register it 3 years ago, I honestly can't remember because we just moved into a new house, so there was a lot of things going on.
Yeah.
So I couldn't say rightly or wrongly whether I did or didn't register it.
Well, it might be worth... have you spoken to the manufacturer?
No.
Okay,
no,
well, it might be...
You say that my contract is with the retailer, not the manufacturer.
Right. Yeah, you don't have any contract at all. But if they're offering a 10-year parts guarantee on their products, and if this is a product that you can have a bit of a battle on your hand with the retailer, it might be worth exploring what that guarantee actually gives you and whether or not you did activate it. Because if, for example, they can get an engineer round for £100 and all the parts necessary are covered under that warranty and it can all be fixed, it might be worth trying to arrange with the retailer that they just cover the cost of that rather than this £72 in voucher form.
Yeah.
Now, the reason why I mentioned 92 is that, in my mind, that's what I've worked out is a reasonable amount for the company to offer you. Mm-hmm. Based on the use that you have not had. The way that I've done that, just if you want to know, you take the total price that you paid, which was £229.99.
Yep.
You divide that by 5 years, because that's what we're working on as being a reasonable amount of life for that to have lasted for. Gives you an annual price of £45.99. Then you times that by the 3... For the 3 years you've had £137.99's worth of use out of it. If you then take the $229.99, which you spent in the first place, you deduct the use that you have had at a cost of $137.99, it gives you a total of £92.
Right.
So I think what I would be inclined to do, and I'm more than happy to get in contact with the company and just ask them, are they prepared to up that to 92, which I consider to be a more reasonable offer? But I do think it might be worth you exploring with the manufacturer. Is the guarantee up and running? If it is, will that cover any parts necessary? And if so, what's the call out? Because if they turn around and say, oh, well, the call out for the engineer's labour cost is £100, maybe it would be better for us to try and push the retailer to cover that cost, so you get your tumble dryer back up and running, completely fixed, without having to pay any more money.
Yeah, I understand. That sounds reasonable.
Okay.
I will say that in one of the letters, I did read it somewhere, that the 72, 73 that they offered could be used towards buying something else or for repairs. And again, as I say, what annoys me is the fact that if I choose to buy another product, I've got to go back to them to buy it. I can't go and source a new product somewhere else. So in other words, they're not offering me cash compensation, they're offering me a voucher, which means they get the money back as well.
Okay. Well, look, you contact the manufacturer.
Yep.
I'll go and speak to the retailer for you this afternoon, and let's see what we can do to improve on that offer.
Okay, that sounds very good.
Okay. Thank you very much indeed, Larry. Hang on there, I'm going to pass you back to the team. Now, Vicky's son runs a personal training business. Recently, he purchased some dumbbells and a squat stand for just over £1,000.
He purchased some dumbbells and some squat stands. These are kind of things that he uses as part of his personal training business. He bought it from this sport retailer. The company accepted his order but didn't deliver the items. He is significantly out of pocket. He has not received a refund despite requesting it several times. You can't phone them. Nobody answers the phone. Nobody responds to their emails, and we're left a little bit in limbo. He got hold of them on one occasion, and they said, yes, the refund will be forthcoming within 10 working days. They said that they were out of stock of those items, but in actual fact, having looked at the website after he had ordered the goods, we could see that the goods were there, but they were £200 more.
Well, I promised Vicky I would try and make contact with this company to resolve the matter. How have I got on? Let's find out, because Vicky's back on the JVS show. Hello, Vicky.
Hello, Jonathan.
Now, you did mention to me on the programme before that although this company's not well known, for anyone in the sports or personal training industry, they would know this company. Are you sure?
Well, I'm only repeating what my son's told me.
Oh, right. Okay. Because, I mean, I certainly had never heard of them before. And to be fair, I've never had a complaint about them either. Mm-hmm. I have tried to make contact with them on several occasions and have had absolutely no response from them whatsoever. Mm-hmm. The company concerned is a company called Iron Strength. Mm-hmm. They are iron-strength.co.uk. Mm-hmm. As I say, I have contacted them and made them aware of the fact that you've come to my programme, and they have not responded by email or by telephone. Okay. So I think the desire from this company to resolve the matter does not seem to be particularly high on their agenda. So what can you do? Well, let's just go through your various options. Remind me how your son paid for all of this equipment.
Unfortunately, he used a debit card, not a credit card for his purchase.
And I think we are still just within the time frame for doing a chargeback, are we not?
I think we may just be, yeah. So was it 120 days, wasn't it?
That's right. Now, I know after our last conversation, I did suggest that your son should make contact with the bank again, just make sure that he'd used the right terminology in terms of putting in a chargeback. Do you know if he has contacted them yet?
I think that he has. He wasn't quite sure. I'm not quite sure. I know he's been in contact with the bank, and I know that they've told him that they will look into it in August.
Now that I don't understand. I don't understand this business of looking into it in August.
No, I don't understand it either, in all honesty.
Well, look, let's just look at the facts and where we are. So, iron-strength.co.uk, they don't seem to want to respond. They haven't given your son the money back for the equipment that he has not received. They haven't responded to his attempts to communicate with them, and they haven't responded to my attempts. Therefore, I think we can safely assume they are in no great rush to pay your son back.
No.
Your son has paid for something that he hasn't received, which means as long as he's within the time frame, he would qualify to do a chargeback through the bank.
Yeah.
If he'd paid by credit card, and this is just some advice for anybody else listening to the programme, please, please, please always pay for anything that costs over £100 with a credit card. It gives you so much more protection. Had he paid for this equipment by credit card, it would be very straightforward. He would simply put in what is known as a Section 75 claim through the Consumer Credit Act, and he would request that the money was refunded to him by his credit card company. Because he paid by debit card, you have a similar level of protection, albeit it's not set out in legislation. It is only an industry-accepted policy, but there is a time frame, a time limit of 120 days, and I suggest that he contacts the bank back again and makes it very clear that what he is asking them to do is a chargeback through this iron-strength.co.uk for the full amount that he's paid, because he has not received the goods.
Yeah. Okay.
If, for whatever reason, that is unsuccessful, then the only further thing that you could do would be to write to whoever runs iron-strength.co.uk. And I should just point out, a bit of a warning sign for me is that there is no company address on their website that I can find.
No.
That, for me, should ring alarm bells. Buying from an internet company that doesn't even tell you where they're based, why on earth would they not list a proper registered company address on their website? That may be difficult, but if he can get an address, then obviously the only other step that he could do is to write to them and to inform them that he's going to pursue them through the small claims court.
Okay. Yeah.
So, sorry, not great news.
No, that's fine. It doesn't surprise me that you haven't managed to contact them. We both of us, we try a couple of times a day to get through, and neither of us have had any joy. My son just on one occasion only. But.
Well, what it does give me an opportunity to do, unlike the earlier case we were discussing with a different company, this Iron Strength website is still very much up and running. In fact, they seem to be suggesting at the moment they've still got an Easter sale on. So just be aware, ladies and gentlemen, if you're thinking of purchasing anything from iron-strength.co.uk, they have taken money from Vicky's son. He has not received the product that he ordered, and he cannot get his money back. And they are, it would appear, completely ignoring my attempts to contact them. So just be aware of that. Oh dear, oh dear. Well, look, this is going to be potentially a bit of a learning curve for your son as he builds his business, to make sure that, choosing the supplier, choosing the company that you also choose to do business with is very important. And he's going to learn that, unfortunately, from this.
Yes, absolutely. He's got himself a credit card now, so he won't make that mistake again.
Great stuff. Okay, and always buy from good, reputable companies. Do your research, look them up, make sure there's loads of happy customers and that they've been around in business for years and that they've got a reputation that they obviously will want to preserve. Those are the kinds of things that you want to be looking at when you're purchasing stuff from companies on the internet. Vicky, can you please keep me posted and let me know how he gets on with the bank, and I'll keep fingers crossed they allow him to do that charge back very soon. Hello, Alison.
Hello, Jonathan. How are you?
Good morning. I'm marvellous, thank you, Alison. I hope you are too. I gather you have a consumer problem, though. Tell me all about it without naming any company names, please.
Okay, thank you very much. So this is to do with our broadband and our landline issue. And it happened back on Tuesday, the 20th of April, involving a bin lorry who unfortunately had an accident and drove into one of our landline pylons outside our house.
Oh, no.
So it wasn't very pleasant, but thankfully we think the driver was okay, so that's one of the main things.
How can you crash a bin lorry? I mean, for goodness sake, they're not going very fast.
Well, exactly. I didn't actually witness it. All I witnessed was, unfortunately, the lorry ending up in the field after hitting the pylon and the fence and ending up in the farmer's field. So it could have been a lot worse. It could have gone through a house, but so thankfully, but we think he might have blacked out or something like that. So,
oh dear.
Well,
that doesn't sound ideal. So the in the process of crashing the bin lorry into this, well, I presume it was a telegraph post, was it?
Absolutely, yeah, that's the one.
Taken all the phone lines down with it as well, including people's broadband.
That's exactly right.
And how many households are affected?
So we definitely know of, including us, there's 3. The problem with being is that we're all with different service providers internally, so it's a bit of complications in regards to that, but also with the pylon obviously being down for the main lines providing these internal servers, if that makes sense.
Yes. So where are we now with it? I mean, what's happened? Have they rebuilt the telegraph pole and got the lines connected or not?
If only. So the telegraph pole is still on the floor. It still has police tape around it. We've basically spoken to our service provider, because we know that, obviously I've listened to you a few times, and our contract is with our service provider, obviously who we pay our broadband and landline rental to.
Yes, but I presume they need to get whoever is responsible for the infrastructure. I don't know if that would be BT or Openreach, or I don't know
Right.
Today whether it's still, back in the olden days it would have been British Telecom who were responsible for the telegraph post and getting it all back up and getting the lines back up and running. Is it still them or not?
It is. As far as we know, it's Openreach who provides the main lines into the houses.
Right. But your contract is not with them?
No, it's not.
Right. But what you need is your supplier of telephone and broadband to be liaising with the infrastructure supplier to come and replace the telegraph pole and get all the lines back up and running.
Sounds easy, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. But I'm not surprised it's not been easy.
No, so we've basically been onto our service provider basically every second day with so many different excuses as to why it's not been fixed. They've sent us, our service provider has said they've sent something down the line to get that fixed. That hasn't happened. We've been told that people are going to turn up to fix it on a certain day. On Monday, people don't turn up. We then phone them in the afternoon. They don't turn up. And the last straw kind of was like yesterday, when again it was supposed to be fixed yesterday. And we're still here without any broadband or landline attached to our house.
And have you been given any information as to why the scheduled repairs have not occurred?
No, they haven't given us anything. They're just saying it's with with Openreach, and they can't give us any information. And Openreach, we've tried to contact them ourselves, and they won't talk to us because they say contact your service provider.
Right.
And we're getting absolutely nowhere with nothing.
And has obviously your contract is with whichever company it is provides you with your telephone and your broadband. Have they provided you with any kind of temporary alternative, such as one of these dongle things that you can connect to the internet via a mobile phone instead?
No, they haven't. So we know that certain providers do that. But our service provider has come back with nothing and offered us absolutely nothing to replace what's happened, or just left us stranded, basically.
Well, that's very disappointing. And have they also accepted that they're not going to be charging you for the time that you're left without the service you're paying for?
Well, we have mentioned that to them, but they haven't confirmed exactly what they're going to do as yet. But we do have it on the cards that actually there's kind of a lot of things that happen behind the scenes. So there's 2 of us working from home. We've got children that need to do online homeschooling sort of work, tutoring, homework. We're trying to use data from our mobile phones. We've had to purchase extra data. So there's lots to take into consideration that they haven't thought about. So things like our house security alarm is linked to our landline, which that has obviously been affected as well. So we have spoken to them, but they haven't confirmed exactly what they're going to do to think about all the problems that we've occurred.
Right, okay. Well, it sounds as if I need to get a phone call into them, and they need to take some responsibility for this and get it up and running as soon as possible. And to be honest with you, I mean, if, for example, they were being straightforward and were saying, look, we're really sorry, we are obviously a bit dependent on when the company Openreach, in this case, when they actually come around and replace the telegraph pole and to do the work, we're dependent on them, and there's been problems their end. But of course, in the meantime, we don't expect you to pay for the service because you're not getting it. In the meantime, here's an alternative way of getting online. If they were doing that to try and help you through this situation, that would then be understandable. But it sounds as if they're not really doing very much at all.
Absolutely, completely agree. They've done absolutely nothing to us. They haven't apologised. They don't seem to be taking it seriously, that actually they need to take some responsibility to get onto Openreach and help us out in the situation. They've just kind of just left us stranded for the last 2 weeks and getting on with it, basically.
Okay. Can you leave it with us? I will contact that company for you, and I'll also get onto Openreach at the same time and try and get a three-way conversation to keep the pressure up to get it resolved. But I really want your service provider to be taking responsibility for the fact that you're, through no fault of your own, I accept it's not through any fault of theirs either, but you are the paying customer and you're not getting what you're paying for. So, no. And I would like them to take responsibility for that. Right, can you leave it with us, Tara?
Yes. What we'd like in these cases is a sense of urgency, wouldn't we, really?
Quite. Well, particularly now, because
absolutely
when
now.
People are working from home and you've got kids trying to do the work from home, and it's just a nightmare, isn't it, really, to be left without internet at the moment.
If we had no broadband in our house, I think there'd be hell to pay.
Yes, I can imagine.
Welcome to my last 2 weeks, Tara.
I bet.
Yes. Right, well, look, Alison, I'll pass you back. We'll get some detail, and I promise you we'll contact the company this afternoon and try and get things sorted. Irene and her husband made a very large purchase in 2016.
5 years ago, in 2016, my husband and I bought a top-of-the-range motorhome, all singing and dancing. It was a trade-in. Probably the value was $126,000.
What?
Yes. And just recently, we've noticed that at the top of the back of the motorhome, it's cracked and has several fractures all along the top. He immediately phoned the dealer. They duly asked us if we'd hit anything. So there's probably 10 to 20 fractures. And I think there would be, if my husband had hit anything, there would be some sort of denting. And they asked if we could send some photographs of this, of which my husband did. And their response was that their advisor said that because it was out of a 2-year warranty, the fascia stroke capping was not covered.
Well, as far as Irene is concerned, when they purchased this very expensive motorhome, they expected it to be fit for purpose, of reasonable quality, and they expected it to last for a reasonable amount of time. You do not expect the plastic on the roof to start cracking through no fault of your own on a brand new motorhome within 5 years. It's not acceptable. And unless you, the customer, have done something to cause that, or unless you've damaged it yourself, then you are fully within your rights to go back to the retailer and to ask them to try and assist you. Well, that's exactly what Irene did, but this retailer did not want to know. So I contacted them and explained the situation. The first response I received from them was via their solicitors, that they obviously immediately passed this over to, who wrote me a letter that I have to be honest, I didn't find particularly helpful. In fact, I found the end of it quite snotty, but I'll tell you more. Irene's back on the JVS show now. Hello, Irene.
Good morning, Jonathan.
Being patronising to me doesn't tend to make me want to go away. It tends to make me want to pursue things even further. Let me just read the response that has come through from the solicitors acting on behalf of the company that you purchased this very expensive motorhome from.
Okay.
They say, we write on behalf of our client in response to your email to them dated 29th of April. In regards to the sale of a motorhome to Irene and her husband. You've asked for a response to be broadcast on your radio show. We hereby provide that response. Well, so far, so good, Irene, eh? As your email confirms, the vehicle was purchased around 5 years ago, in 2016. The manufacturer's warranty runs for 2 years, with a 10-year water ingress warranty. The manufacturer's warranty has obviously expired, and there is no water ingress, or there is no, it's not likely to be from this crack, as this is a cosmetic cloaking piece.
Yes.
Now, I don't know what a cosmetic cloaking piece is, but I presume that means it's purely a bit of decorative plastic. It doesn't actually form any part of the structure of the roof.
Okay. Yeah.
Turning to the Consumer Rights Act of 2015, for our client to be liable, the issue would have needed to exist at the point of sale. This issue was clearly not present at the point of sale, as otherwise Irene and her husband would have reported it much earlier in their ownership. Our client has not heard from the customer at any point in the previous 5 years. Further, it is not clear how the crack appeared after all this time, and the customer has only ever provided photographs. To be clear, this is not a known fault or one reported on any other of these models. In answer to your email, by the way, I do have an issue with what they've said there, but we'll come back to that. In answer to your email, there has not been any misunderstanding with this complaint. Further, you advising that you will be reading it out on air doesn't change that. Our client goes above and beyond for their customers and are very happy to do so, but cannot be held liable for cosmetic issues which appear to be for an unestablished reason 5 years after a sale. Notwithstanding, if Irene and her husband would like to take the time to take the motorhome to our client, they would be more than happy to inspect it and discuss a favourable repair cost should any work need to be undertaken. Note the fact that they are making it quite clear that would be a chargeable thing. Now, this is the bit that really, after all of that, this is the bit that really then got up my nose. If you would like any clarification on consumer law and how it relates to the motor industry in this or any other matter, please feel free to contact us. They say in a patronising manner, as if I haven't been doing this programme for over 20 years.
Yes.
I mean, it's just, it is simply not true that a problem had to exist at the point of sale. It is simply not true, because if that were the case, let me give you a different example. If the law stated that the problem had to exist at the point of sale, if I go and buy a shirt, and at the point of sale the shirt looks absolutely fine, and I get it home and I wear it once and I put it in the washing machine and 2 of the buttons fall off, based on what this firm of solicitors seems to be arguing, you would have no grounds whatsoever to return to the shop with that shirt and say, clearly the buttons have not been stitched onto this shirt properly because I've worn it once, I washed it once, and 2 of the buttons have fallen off. They would, the retailer, based on what this firm of solicitors are arguing, would be perfectly within their rights to say to you, well, the buttons were on there when you bought it, so I'm afraid we're not prepared to do anything to help you. I mean, it's just nonsense. What has to have been in existence from the beginning is some kind of manufacturing defect. Now, the argument would be, and I'm basing this all on what you've told me, Irene, that you have not caused the damage to this vehicle.
Absolutely.
The argument would be that the plastic used on the roof at the point of sale had not been manufactured to the right standard that it would then last for a reasonable amount of time, and as a result of inadequate plastic being used on that part of the roof, after a 5-year period, which is clearly an unreasonably short amount of time for this to manifest itself, the plastic has begun to crack. So the fact that we're 5 years down the line really doesn't change matters. However, what is very clear to me is that this company does not intend to assist you. What is very clear to me is that this company, if they are to assist you, they want paying, And if you are to pursue them further, what is very clear is that this company will fight it. Hence the fact that they got a firm of solicitors to respond to me in the first instance. So we have to decide what's the best course of action in terms of proceeding. If you are to argue successfully, Irene, that this company have sold you a motorhome that has a defect that may well have taken 5 years to become clear, but has still become clear in an unreasonably short amount of time, based on the huge amount of money that this product is worth, you will need to have your own independent report carried out.
Right. They are the sole dealers for our particular motorhome. So there is nowhere else to go, because you did suggest last week when I spoke to you that we got an independent someone to look at it and give us a sort of quote for what we could do. Well, we've looked online, but if you tried to order a part, you'd have to go through this particular dealer because it's the only one in the country.
You'll have to forgive me. I would rather not go on holiday than go on holiday in a caravan or a motorhome. It's a personal preference, so I'm not very au fait with the world of caravanning or going away in motorhomes. But I presume there must be independent companies out there that specialise in repairing the plastic material that motorhomes and caravans are made out of.
We haven't found one,
really?
and I go back to the fact that the dealer has to supply, would have to supply that because they are the only suppliers in the country.
But there must be an independent company that knows about the kind of plastic that is used in the construction of this vehicle, who would be able to look at the plastic and write a report based on lots of previous experience and expertise in this line as to why that plastic has cracked.
Right, well...
there must be someone. Have you tried contact... I mean, I would have thought a good place to start, is there the Camping and Caravanning Club? Do they have a list of accredited repairers or companies in the local area that are experts at fixing problems with caravans?
I have to say I don't know, but obviously it's worth investigating.
Well, I think so, because...
The only issue I would raise with this is that whether the company that we're talking about would honour the warranty for the habitation, which is the leakage or anything like that, if anyone else did any repairs on it.
But we're not talking about doing repairs. We're talking what you need to do, because at the moment it's very clear from their response that they ain't budging on this. They're happy to look at it, but they're making it quite clear, if they look at that caravan, if they look at the roof of it, they're going to charge you for any repairs that need to be done. They're not prepared to repair it for nothing. So if you're not satisfied with that, and I don't blame you for not being satisfied with that, it's a very expensive product, and if you, as you say, you haven't done anything to damage it yourself, are pretty annoyed that this very expensive motorhome has started cracking, albeit cosmetically, you still didn't buy it with a view to it all being cracked on this particular panel after a 5-year period, you're going to need some kind of proof or some kind of independent evidence that the cracking is absolutely nothing to do with you and the way that you've used the motorhome.
Right.
Okay. So this is the first port of call in what I sense is probably going to be a battle. Now, the other thing I was going to say to you, do you have, as part of your home insurance, do you have legal cover?
I would think so, yes.
I think it would be well worth you investigating, and I think it would be well worth speaking to them, because it may well be that you have some free legal cover you can use through your home insurance when this inevitably, if you're going to take it further, ends up in a legal battle. Because the fact that this company has immediately got their firm of solicitors to respond suggests that they will expect their solicitors to deal with this throughout.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think it would be beneficial for you, if you've got access to a free solicitor through your home insurance, to utilise that right from the start. But I think what you need to do, and I don't know if any of my caravanning listeners can suggest anywhere, what you need is someone local who knows about the kind of plastic on this vehicle, who can look at it and can provide an expert view as to what has caused that plastic to crack.
Yes, that's what you need.
I think that's the first port of call, because then at least you've got something to go back to the retailer with and to say, I'm sorry, but we spent a lot of money on this product. It has failed after a 5-year period in terms of the plastic on it is now cracking. It should not be cracking. As you will see from the report we've had carried out by X company, they've made it very clear that this cracking should not exist. It is not down to any damage we have caused, and therefore we feel it's wholly unreasonable that you're expecting us to pay for what is probably going to be a very expensive repair on a vehicle that is only 5 years old.
Absolutely, yeah.
Can I please leave you to speak to your insurance company just to find out about the legal cover? I will see if I get any calls from my caravanning listeners who might know of a good repair company who would be able to write that report, and let's take it from there. And if the firm of solicitors who thought by sending me a snotty, patronising email was going to make me go away, I'm afraid all you've done is antagonise me further.
They obviously don't listen to you, Jonathan.
They don't. They clearly don't. Although I have had dealings with this firm of solicitors before, not with this particular lawyer, but I've dealt with one of her colleagues in the past. So I would have thought they know that sending me this kind of email is not going to work. Let's leave it there for now. Irene, we will talk very soon and we'll take it from there. Colin came to me. He was telling me his oven stopped working while they were cooking the Sunday roast. Now, it was about 5 years old at the time. He contacted a repair company and was visited the very next day by an engineer.
He came, he had a look, he said, yes, the element's gone. Now, we're talking about something which is bulk standard. It's an element for an oven. You know, this must be happening all the time. So it's nothing special or unusual. And he checked, he didn't have one on board his van, but he said that he could get one in a few days if we paid him for the elements, which was £14.86. So I paid him the £14.86 by direct debit card again. So we've now paid a total of £92.80 for this repair. Since then, I've made repeated telephone calls to them, and I get nowhere.
Well, this is a couple of months ago now, over that. And Colin was saying they've been left without the working oven all this time, because for whatever reason they've been unable to get hold of this element and therefore have been unable to come back and repair it. Well, Colin's had enough. I don't blame him. He's back on the JVS now. Hello, Colin.
Good morning.
Hello. Right, now, as you are aware, I went off to speak to the company on your behalf.
Yes.
They came back. They were very apologetic, but they said that the part that you required for your cooker was now obsolete. They couldn't get hold of it. And they therefore, when they spoke to you, they came up with an alternative plan. They said that what they were prepared to do was to order in a different, more generic part that was much more expensive, and they would come and fit that instead. But the thing that troubled me somewhat was they were asking you to pay more money for this new part. Having left you all this time, they then wanted you to pay more money to come and deal with this part. Now, what was particularly interesting, I mean, you weren't very happy about that, and I'm not surprised, but what was very interesting, we looked up the part, and the part still seemed to be available on the manufacturer's website. So why were they telling you that they couldn't get hold of the original element they required? Well, I went back to them again, and they came back with this response. They say, I called Colin this morning and spoke with him, and then later he called me back as you advised him to speak to the manufacturer. Indeed, I did, just to check to see if that part was available. The manufacturer confirmed that indeed, as we had said, the part, or an alternative part, was not available, and delivery was out of our hands. However, they have new stock coming into the UK on the 5th of May. This will then have to be distributed to those who have orders pending. Therefore, as soon as this arrives with us, we will be able to send an engineer out to complete the repair. Because we'd been trying to resolve the issue by finding an available alternative, we had an update late yesterday, which would have meant we could have resolved this matter sooner. We actually had a successful reply to one of our searches. However, the part was extraordinarily expensive. I explained to Colin that as a gesture of goodwill, I would look at reducing the cost of this down for him if he wanted to proceed. That we didn't need to talk about talking payment on the phone at this time whilst I checked if there was anything further I could do. Potentially, the cost may be around £45. I assured him that I was still looking into this whilst trying to resolve this quickly for him, and I had a slot available for next week after the bank holiday. I actually had this part on order, ready to act on the repair. However, after speaking with Colin, and he himself having spoken to yourself and the manufacturer, he instructed me to order and wait for the part from the manufacturer that's coming in on the 5th of May. I tried to explain to him that this date was for the part being available from them, and it then needs to be dispatched to us, and it would therefore be a further week or so before we receive the part. I have pre-booked a slot for the engineer for the 12th of May in the afternoon, as agreed with Colin on the phone. I cancelled the part that I had on order from the other supplier. I made Colin fully aware on the call that this booking slot is provisional on the manufacturer being true to their word and the part being available with them for the 5th of May to enable delivery to supply us in a timely manner, thus enabling us to fulfil our repair with the customer. I'm aware that this has not been a timely repair and that in itself is distressing. There have been delays in communication regarding the part. However, the part has not been available to complete this repair. I have since discovering that this repair has not been dealt with as the customer needed or as the business expects, put steps in to avoid this ever happening again. I understand this doesn't help Colin, but we cannot go backwards, only forwards, finding... I'm reading this as it's written. Only forwards and something about our failings as a service. We will put steps in to improve it. The only other thing that we could do would be to refund Colin in full and for him to be able to go out and purchase a new appliance. So it's a very long way of responding, in effect, to say, we were trying to help out, we tried to find a more expensive part, but if he doesn't want that, we'll cancel that, and we'll now go back to the original plan of waiting for the original part to come in on the 5th of May. Did they get back in touch with you, Colin?
Well, they did and they didn't. I actually contacted them. What happened after I spoke to yourself, your young lady spoke to me, and she's made a very good suggestion to me. You'll have to give her a rise because she did a very good job. She suggested that I telephone the manufacturer and that I find out whether what I've been told is correct. So I did. I got through to them, and they said to me that it's quite correct that this part wasn't being made anymore, but there was a generic part. But instead of the £147, which this other firm had quoted me, they said that they had this one coming in on this coming Friday, but it's £11.07, which is a lot different to £147.
It is.
And so I then got back in touch with the engineering company, and I told her that this part was available on this coming Friday, gave her the part number, told her what it was going to cost, £11.07, and then we agreed that they would order this part and that they would come next Tuesday and fit it.
On the 12th, which is the original... let me just interrupt you, because this is just very frustrating that it feels as if this company keep getting information that is out of date. I mean, they're saying in their latest response, they're talking about the part arriving on the 5th of May, which is today. But from what you're saying, the part was never due to arrive today. It's due to arrive on Friday.
Friday, yeah, that's correct.
With the manufacturer or with the repair company? Because to be fair to them, maybe they're talking about them getting the part in on Friday.
No, this is the manufacturer saying that the part was due in. I presume it's coming from abroad or wherever they're getting it from. Anyway, it's coming into the manufacturer, as I understand it, on Friday.
But how do we know that the repair company will have it in time for Tuesday?
Well, that's why we've left it till Tuesday, so that they've got the chance from Friday through till Tuesday to actually get hold of the part.
Well, I'm very concerned that this is still potentially not going to be resolved next week.
I hope it is.
And I just find it so frustrating that we are now, 2.5 months down the line from when you first contacted them to get this cooker repaired.
Yeah.
You know, why could all of this not have been... At any stage previously, have they said to you, look, we're really sorry, we can't get this part, have your money back, we're not going to charge you anything for this, have your money back?
No.
It's bizarre.
No, the only time anybody ever spoke to me was after I spoke to you. Following your getting involved in the matter, they actually then telephoned me. That was the first time they ever telephoned me was after you became involved. Prior to that, nobody had ever telephoned me. I used to keep having to chase, and every time I chased, I was being told, the part's been delayed, it's going to be another couple of weeks, then it's going to be another couple of weeks, then another couple of weeks, etc., etc. So no, that's not the case.
Right, well, I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to contact this lady again this afternoon. And let me just say that you and I have had the conversation today. You have been informed that the part will be available from Friday of this week. We understand that a date is booked in for next Tuesday. Can they confirm that that's their understanding? And are they confident that on Tuesday of next week they will be going out to repair this cooker? And I will also ask them, can they please confirm that they do not anticipate charging you anything further in getting this cooker up and running? Because I think it's absolutely ridiculous the way you've been left.
Well, as I understand it, the amount I paid up front, which was £77, I think, £77.94, that was it. That's inclusive of whatever it takes, so there shouldn't be any further charges. The only other thing, of course, is that I paid for the element, but this element that is now coming in is actually cheaper than they charged me in the first place. But I'm not worried about the odd pound or two. Doesn't what concern me. What concerns me is I want my cooker up and running.
Well, yeah, okay, you might not be interested in the odd pound or two. I think, to be honest, it's the least the company could do. And certainly if it was my company, I would be saying to you, we're going to refund you what you've paid because we understand we've mucked you about. You've been left without a cooker for ages through no fault of your own. I would explain the problems that we'd had as a retailer as well, but I would say, do you know what, we're sorry about it. We'll come out next Tuesday, we'll get it fixed and we'll refund you your money as a goodwill gesture. That way, you would probably be inclined to use this company again in the future. But I'm imagining, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, I would imagining if your cooker breaks again, will this company be the first company you go to get it fixed?
It's highly unlikely. No. Because, I mean, I've just been let down. And it just seems to me as if whoever is in charge of getting the spare parts just doesn't bother to phone people or speak to people or find people, because as your lady suggested, she suggested that I ring the company direct, which I did, and I got the information straight away over the telephone that when the part's coming in, what the part number is, how much it's going to cost, etc., etc. Okay. Now, I would have thought that any competent engineering company would be doing the same thing.
Colin, let me go back, let me speak to them this afternoon, let me just ask them just to reconfirm next Tuesday, and let's take it from there. Now, Madhu has been paying for electrical appliance cover for the items in his kitchen for the last 10 years. It's cost £8.75 a month, so you work out how much he's spent over that period of time. But when he finally came to use the policy, he's not had a great experience involving the replacement of his old microwave.
I took it out, looked at it, and it's only a 20-litre one, capacity that they've sent me. And I looked at my original one, and that's a 30-litre capacity. I called them first thing Monday morning and I said, you sent me this thing, but it's the wrong one because this is not a like-for-like replacement. And the person on the phone said to me, no, we can't do anything about it. I'm sorry. And I said, no, because I've been paying for all this time. I'm sure that I should expect a like-for-like replacement. You can't just send me a smaller one and say, this is what it is. Anyway, I said, look, I need to speak to a supervisor because this is just not on. And they said, okay, I'm going to raise a complaint about this and somebody will be back in touch with you. That was about 4 or 5 weeks ago, and I haven't heard anything.
Well, I've been off to have a word with the insurance company that provides this cover to try and get things sorted out and try and get the correct microwave sent to Madhu. He's back on the JVS now. Hello, Madhu.
Hello, JVS. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Now, I did go off and speak to Domestic and General, and they've come back with this response. They say, we apologise for the inconvenience experienced by one of our customers. Unfortunately, we had an incorrect model number for the customer's appliance, which caused the issue. We've now amended this detail on our system, and we've informed the customer we will replace their microwave with the correct one. We're currently working directly with the customer to resolve this issue as quickly as possible. So that sounds like a fantastic response. Has it been fantastic from your end?
Yes, on Friday I had a call in the afternoon telling me that they apologized for not having resolved this earlier, and they said we want to resolve this as quickly as possible. So they asked me to, the first thing they said to me is that obviously the original microwave that I have, it's been discontinued, obviously after all these years, but they said we are trying to find your replacement, but what we need you to do is give us some dimensions, where this fitted microwave goes in so that we can get the right one. So over the long bank holiday weekend, I've taken some measurements and I sent it off to them yesterday. And they said they'd get back to me. So this morning I've had an email back from them saying that they have found one, which is, almost the same size. And, they've asked me to have a look at it to see, whether that's a suitable model or not. I haven't had a chance to, look into it this morning because I'm at work, but I'll look at it sometime today and get back to them whether that's a suitable model which would actually fit into, the space. So hopefully it's looking very, very positive at the moment.
It sounds like it. What I'm going to do, that's just a little bit of the horn. Madhu, can you please keep me posted and let me know as soon as you've received your new microwave? Shirley's on the line. Hello, Shirley.
Hi, Jonathan.
Now, you don't want to talk to me about animals. You want to talk to me about your consumer problem. So tell me everything without naming any company names, please.
Okay, well, I always buy my dishwasher tablets in bulk online, and my usual supplier has stopped making the ones I like, so I just did a general search. And the manufacturer of this particular brand, they came back with quite a good deal, so I duly ordered. It's just a large packet. It costs $34.99.
Oh, my word. Now, can I just ask, I mean, it sounds to me as if you're very, set in your ways when it comes to your dishwasher tablets. Why are you so fussy about what you use?
Well, I like the ones with all the ticks on, that non-cloudy glasses and all the bells and whistles.
Well, yeah, so do I, but I'll level with you, Shirley. I have found the cheap ones work just as well.
Well, I don't find that because I've got glasses that have gone cloudy and I don't like it.
Oh. No, I tend to use I buy the all-in-one. That's what you mean, isn't it? Where you've got the rinse aid and all that kind of stuff all in the same tablet. Yeah. But I just buy the supermarket own brand ones and they work very well. Yeah, I've not got cloudy glasses, I promise you, Shirley.
Maybe it's just my cheap glasses then.
Oh, no, I'm sure it's not your cheap glasses at all. So this particular lot of dishwasher tablets, 34 quid, did you say?
$34.99, and then I got a welcome discount of £5.24, so I ended up paying $29.75.
For how many?
I'm not quite sure. I can't remember. The picture's not very good. I can't remember. It was a double pack, so it was quite a lot.
Yeah, but I mean, what are we talking? 50, 100, 200?
Probably about 40. Or I'm not sure really. About
40 dishwasher tablets for 30 quid?
Well, it might be 80. I can't remember, Jonathan. Honestly, you're going to make me sound really stupid now, but It was sort of over a month ago, and I can't remember. The picture's really rubbish online. I've gone back and had a look, and it's really rubbish.
Well, how much do you normally spend then?
Probably a similar amount, but they last for ages.
Yeah, but I think my dishwasher tablets are about $3.99 for about 40 tablets or something.
Oh.
So I'm amazed at how much you're spending. Anyway, well, look, it's up to you. So you've spent the £29.75 directly with the manufacturer to send you a great big bundle of it.
That's it.
What's gone on?
Well, they've just never arrived. This was on the 3rd of April I ordered them, and they haven't arrived. So I emailed them on the 26th of April to find out, just to chase up where they got to. No response, no reply to the email, nothing. So I resent the email again on the 30th of April, and I've still heard nothing, and I've had no dishwasher tablets.
Well, that's very frustrating. How did you pay for them?
By credit card, Jonathan.
Right, okay. Well, I mean, if we don't manage to get through to them, I would suggest you just cut your losses and just put in a charge back for the money, because it's ridiculous that over something so straightforward there would be all this kind of hassle. I mean, it's just infuriating over dishwasher tablets.
I know. I mean, they're a well-known company. I mean, everyone would have heard of them. So, I can't see what the problem is. But you can't get to... I mean, so many companies now, you just can't get to speak to them on the phone. There are no phone numbers available. It's all done online. It's really frustrating.
Well, can you leave it with me? I'll pass you back to Tara. Can we just get some detail?
Oh, I couldn't live without my dishwasher tabs.
I couldn't live... My dishwasher, I'll be honest with you, my dishwasher is my favourite kitchen appliance.
Yeah.
It is the...
You have to buy double crockery, though. Double cutlery and double crockery, because it's always in the dishwasher.
Yeah, but I don't care. I don't care. I could never, ever live without a dishwasher. It's the most wonderful appliance ever, because I just hate washing up.
Yeah, brilliant invention.
I know.
I have been with my husband since we were 16 years old, and we're going to be 50. That I shouldn't reveal that. It's quite a long time. And we don't really argue, but we did argue about washing up before we got a dishwasher. So really, I'm going to say that dishwasher saved my marriage.
Yeah, I think that's a perfectly reasonable thing to say. I tell you what, Shirley, can I pass you back to Tara, and we'll get some detail, and we'll contact that company for you this afternoon and find out where your tablets have gone. Michael came to me. He was telling me his other half gave him a very smart jumper last November. It wasn't cheap either.
It was paid for in US dollars, but then obviously there's the currency transaction fees as well, and it came in at £86.94, I believe. And it was a Christmas gift for me. This jumper was very, very nice and very warm over the winter. Obviously, I received it at Christmas, and that was 4 months ago now. It's been worn a number of times and washed once. As per the instructions, it was hand washed. On the 10th of April, my partner noticed a small hole in the right elbow. I emailed the company and told them about the issue, gave them all the relevant details, the order number, etc., and they returned an email to me saying that it would cost me £20 for them to organise a collection and a reshipment back out to me. I haven't misused this particular jumper, and therefore I thought it was a little bit out of order that they tried to charge me for what I would deem as a manufacturer's defect.
Well, the slight problem that I have with this case is that this jumper was not purchased from a UK-based retailer. It was purchased from a company based in the Republic of Ireland. And, of course, as such, that company is not beholden to the Consumer Rights Act of 2015. They have their own consumer legislation in the Republic of Ireland. But as a UK-based consumer journalist, it's not legislation that I'm particularly familiar with. But I did promise Michael I would contact the company anyway, just to see what I could find out. And indeed, I've spoken to them. But the response that they've come back with, I don't think Michael's going to be very happy with. Let's see what they've had to say, because Michael's back on the JVS show. Hello, Michael.
Good afternoon, Jonathan.
Good afternoon to you. So the company concerned is AaronSweaterMarket.com. And they're based in the Republic of Ireland. They've come back with this. They say, I'm afraid we're unable to take this item back for return for this customer, as the product has been worn, washed and the order was placed in November, making it 5 months old before the customer got in contact. This hole also appears to be physical damage to the sweater. As you can see from the hole, it's not a manufacturing defect. Had the sweater been received defective, or had this been due to a manufacturing fault, then we would of course have taken the sweater back and offered a full exchange or refund for the item. And then they go on to say you can find full return details on our website. So they're certainly not prepared just to take it back at this stage, but let's see where we're going to take it from here. They're saying that this hole in the jumper is down to, they say it's physical damage. Now, I've seen a photograph of the hole. It's very difficult to tell from the photograph what's actually caused it. How do you think that hole has developed?
From what I can see, from having a look at the hole, obviously, it looks like that the thread or the twine or the fleece has actually separated rather than been pulled apart by physical damage. That's how I look at it.
Could it have been caused, though, by, for example, catching the jumper on something?
I don't think so, Jonathan. I think if you looked at the jumper and the hole, you see there's one thread which runs through the hole, which is separated, and then the hole has been as formed as a result of that.
Right. Okay. What we need to do then, I think you're going to have to get somebody who knows about this kind of thing to write something down for you in the form of a report.
Okay.
Okay. Now, I'm not quite sure who that would be, but it would be someone who has
that makes two of us.
Sorry?
That makes two of us.
Oh, I see, yeah. It would have to be somebody who has some kind of expertise and experience in knitting jumpers or something along those lines that would be able to look at, I presume it would probably have to be done from the back of the fabric to see where the problem has occurred in terms of the manufacturing process that's then caused that hole to open up.
Okay.
No, I don't really know who that would be, though, because you need... is there, I guess, maybe a company that specialises in tailoring repairs, that kind of thing?
I'm assuming so. I'm in the same boat as you, Jonathan. I have absolutely no idea where to go with this.
Well, I think what I would be inclined to do is to have a little look in your local area if there is a company that specialises in repairing clothing or fabric, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Because if they were to have a look at it, chances are they would be able to see fairly quickly what's caused the problem. Then what you need is something on headed notepaper from them to say, you know, we've been in business for such and such a time. We are experts in repairing clothes. From our expert opinion, having looked at this jumper, it is very clear that the jumper hole has developed because of, and then an explanation. And then very importantly, to put in there is no way this hole could have opened up because of use from the customer.
Okay.
Now, what we then need to do is go back to them and give them a chance, armed with that information, to revisit this. If they still refuse, then I guess the next port of call will be to get a consumer lawyer in the Republic of Ireland who is fully familiar with their consumer law, and it would appear, I've had a little look around at their consumer law, it seems to be quite old. It goes back to 18 something or another. They're of course also beholden to EU law because they're in the Republic of Ireland, so it may well be that as European law will cover you for this. But what I think we need at that point is for a consumer lawyer in the Republic of Ireland who knows exactly what the law states this company has to do to be able to give us the information so we can go and put that to them.
Okay.
Okay?
All right, I'll have a search around.
There's quite a lot to do, and this is the reason I'm making all of these points this is why please, wherever possible, buy products from UK-based retailers that have to stick to UK-based consumer law. It makes it much, much easier. let's see where we're going to get to after you've had somebody have a look at that hole, and let's take it from there. OK, I'll wait to hear from you when you've had an independent view.
OK, lovely. Thank you, Jonathan.
All right, thank you very much indeed, Michael. Now, in 2018, Stephen spent £1,995 on 3 pieces of Italian leather furniture.
We've got a footstool, a 3-seater and a power chair. That's the one I sit in, and that's the one we've been having trouble with. After about 15 months, the colour has sort of started fading out of it. The cushion collapsed. So I went into the shop. I had to pay £75 for their service guy to come out, which he did, and he came back and replaced the foam in the chair. This was back in August 2019. I had a small refund because of the colour faded out of it, which he said was due to my tablets, which I take tablets and that for diabetes and stuff and that. I got £100 back for that. They did say we could have got the money back for the whole suite, but I'm happy enough with the seat.
Can I ask a rather rude question, Stephen?
Yeah.
How much do you weigh?
I weigh 14.5 stone, and I double-checked that as small as I thought you might ask me.
Stephen's giggle always makes me laugh. Well, he's very unhappy with all of this. He's been told that if he wants this seat to be sorted out, he'd have to pay another £75, as the product is over a year old and out of warranty. Well, as we all know, any warranty does not affect your statutory rights, and I went off to speak to the retailer on Stephen's behalf. He's back on the JVS show. Hello, Stephen.
Good afternoon, Jonathan.
The company concerned said that you'd contacted them in November 2019 regarding the chair interior.
Yeah.
And as the original 12-month warranty had expired, the customer paid a call-out fee as per the terms and conditions for an inspection report. The report concluded there to be a fault with the interior. This was replaced in March 2020 and the call-out fee was refunded. Well, it wasn't, was it? And they later admitted that, and they've subsequently sorted that out with you. They then went on to say, according to our records, we've had no further contact, but we will arrange for a call to be made and for a further inspection to take place. As the replacement interior is within the 12-month warranty, this will be carried out free of charge. It's a lot of words, but in effect, the important ones were, we're going to come out and we're going to get this sorted. Now, that was some time ago, but I gather things have happened since we last spoke, Stephen. What's going on?
Well, actually, Saturday morning, a chap called Ken came out and replaced the foam in the chair.
Good. And is it all okay?
Yeah, it seems to be okay at the moment, Jonathan. But you never know, do you?
Well, I love your giggle, Stephen. You just make me laugh the way you giggle. So, right. So Ken came out, and it's all fixed.
Yeah, it seems to be all right at this moment in time.
Right, okay. Maria is on the line. Hello, Maria.
Hello, Jonathan.
Maria, I gather you've got a problem with your back door, which is not ideal. Tell me everything without naming any company names, please.
Well, I placed an order for a window and a door, back door and back window, on the 3rd of September. On the 9th, the surveyor came, measured all up, and I was given a date to have it fitted on the 9th of October. Sorry, I'm a bit nervous.
That's all right. Let me listen. First of all, can I just say I love dealing with the back door problem, or a front door problem. I love dealing with door problems. So don't worry. You've got a receptive audience now. Can I just ask a little bit about this door?
Of course.
Was it just a regular kind of white back door, or was it a stable style door?
It's a regular back door.
Right. Colour?
Window, and they fit together.
Colour?
Colour should have been cream on the outside and white on the inside.
Okay, fine. And in terms of the structure of the door, was it a composite door or wooden door, UPVC?
UPVC.
Okay, fine. And how much was this door going to cost?
£2,575.
What, for a UPVC door?
Well, I have a special window, half of the window. It's got lead and glass, special glass.
Oh, right, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right, okay, so quite a lot of money. So it's due to be installed on the 9th of October.
That's correct.
What's gone wrong? Obviously something, which is why you're here talking to me.
They rang me the morning of the 9th of October, 8 o'clock in the morning, to tell me they weren't coming.
Oh.
And they rescheduled for the 14th of October.
What was the explanation?
I don't know. Something wasn't ready.
Well, that's very annoying, isn't it?
Yes,
absolutely. Had you, do you work? Had you taken the day off work? Or?
No, I'm actually retired.
Well, weren't they lucky?
Retired,
I mean, if I'd taken the day off work and somebody phoned me up in the morning, I would have gone absolutely berserk.
Well, the thing was, I'd got the whole kitchen, sort of everything moved out the way, covered the floors, whatever I could,
Yes.
So that all
very
had to
annoying.
be redone.
Okay, so they started saying they were going to have to delay it, and they were coming back on, did you say the 14th of October?
14th of October, yes.
What happened then?
Well, what happened, the window didn't fit properly. The infill that should have clipped the door and the window together was too small. But they managed to clip it together by leaving gaps on each side. And then, oh, God. Well, we found that it was cream inside and out, but I said, that's okay, I can live with that. But when it came to the door panel, it was white inside and outside and the wrong design. I'm sorry, I'm shaking a bit because...
Don't worry about it. Don't worry at all. So the door, when you say the door panel, do you mean the panel bit that goes at the bottom of the door?
At the bottom, yes.
So you've got a cream door, cream frame to the door.
Yeah,
and
both sides.
And then the panel's white.
Yes, and it's the wrong design.
Well, how ridiculous.
Absolutely.
Right, okay. Well, I presume at that point you were fairly frustrated with the company.
Well, I was upset because the job could not be finished, and when the fitters left, they hadn't even waterproofed the outside for me.
Right.
Lucky we had no rain, that day.
Well, none of this sounds ideal, particularly as it sounds to me as if you were certainly not getting some cheapy door.
No.
Paying a good amount of money for the door, so...
Well, the sample I saw, the young man that came when I placed the order, was lovely. He was really good. And when he showed me the sample, I was so impressed. And they had been highly recommended by a friend of mine.
Right. Well, there we go. Where are we now with this? Because obviously this was going back to October. We're now in May. Please tell me this isn't still rumbling on.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Because, anyway, the manager came out after I insisted that he come to see it. He came out on the 17th of October, and he said he would replace the whole thing because the actual door and window had been hand-painted. Now, nobody told me that UPVC is hand-painted.
No.
No. I thought, you get cream, UPVC, you get blue, whatever colour. Anyway, he came to see it and he said because there was lots of paint damage all over, he would replace the whole thing and he would send a fitter to come and
make it waterproof, yeah.
Make it waterproof on the outside because we were expecting terrible weather and we did get it as well because it rained the whole winter, didn't it?
Yes, it did.
Right, when the fitter came to waterproof it, I asked him to write down all the adjustments that needed to be taken and put right and send to the manager, which he did, and I have a copy on my phone. 18th of December, that's a few days before Christmas, I got a call at 5 o'clock that night from the manager to say they were fitting my door and window the next day, the 19th of December. I told him no because we were expecting this terrible storm. And he said, no, it's only 36% chance. I asked him, had he checked the order? And he said yes. So I got the kitchen ready again. On the 19th at 10:45, the fitters arrived. They started removing the window and the door, started putting the new window in, and the heavens opened. I took photographs because there was hailstones, there was thick rain, the wind was absolutely atrocious, so the water was coming in to the kitchen, soaking my back door carpet, which is Flotex, and the water splashed right to the middle of my kitchen.
So where are we now with this, Maria?
Right, we are. 1st of February, I rang text the manager, no reply. 1st of March, text him again. He read the message, but no reply. So I rang head office. And I said, and he said, I got not much satisfaction. He said I needed to speak to the manager in question. So later that day, I texted him. He texted back and told me he would ring me the next day to update me. He didn't. He came on the 11th of March to see the damage. In the meantime, the rain was coming through the beading in the door panel.
Right, OK, so let's just fast forward to where we are now, Maria.
Right.
Is it still not sorted?
No, I texted him the other day.
Yeah.
What was it, the 4th?
It doesn't matter, but the other day is fine.
May. He's read the message, but I've still not heard from him.
OK. And did you pay the full amount of money? Or
No, I put a deposit.
How much?
£575.
So that's all you've paid them?
Yes.
Well, that's very sensible of you. But I can't understand why, when they're still awaiting so much money from you, why they haven't got this sorted out. I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. Right. Well, look, you've done the right thing in coming to me. What I'm going to do, I'm going to pass you back to Tara. Yeah. Tara, can we just get some detail from Maria and let's get a call into this company and find out what on earth they're playing at. This is ridiculous and it's been rumbling on for months.
Absolutely months. Good grief, yeah.
OK. Maria, hang on there. I'm going to pass you back to Tara. We'll get the detail now. Now, Brenda's lived in her council-owned property for 47 years. On March the 9th, she reported a leak in the ceiling of her bedroom. Well, it's not actually her bedroom, it's her spare bedroom. The situation has become even worse, courtesy of the recent terrible rain.
The rain absolutely poured through.
Oh, no.
And the bedroom was like a swimming pool. All they did last night when I called them out was leave me a big bucket, and it was pouring through. I was in tears. I didn't know what to do. My daughter was here, and she was emptying it. This is 1 o'clock in the morning. Then I went in there last night to empty the bucket, and it was so full. And bear in mind that a whole roof was leaking by then. And there's so much water in there that I got a hold of this bucket and I slipped on the water, fell, and I've now hurt my hip and my back. And all the water went all over me. They just say, oh, it's a bigger job than what we thought. So we're going to put in for some quotes. So I've heard about these quotes for the last 6 weeks.
Well, I just can't understand why this hasn't been resolved. It's been nearly 2 months that Brenda's been left with this terrible situation. And OK, we were going through a stage where we weren't getting any rain, which must have been a huge relief for Brenda, but that's very much changed in the last week or so. And Brenda said the blooming rain's just pouring through her ceiling. So I've been on to the council to try and get things sorted out. Brenda's back on the JVS show. Hello, Brenda.
Oh, hello, Jonathan.
Hello, Brenda. So I gather, since I called them, things have started to happen. Now, I've got a statement from them. Let's just read that first, and then we'll find out how things are from your perspective. So the council is Welwyn Hatfield Council, and they say, we've been in contact with Brenda and her family to apologise for this situation and to update her on the work to replace her roof, which is due to start on Thursday, the 6th of May, today. Scaffolding was erected on the 13th of April 2021 and was safety checked on the 4th of May 2021 in anticipation of the work starting. Temporary repairs were made as a matter of urgency following the emergency call-out on the 9th of March 2021, with a tarpaulin cover fitted to make it safe on the 10th of March 2021 whilst we arranged for a survey and replacement of the flat roof, fascia, soffits and gutters. Once this work has been completed, we will replace her ceiling and we will redecorate the affected room. We always try to ensure our tenants receive a high-quality service. We deal with around 25,000 repairs a year, and on this occasion, unfortunately, we have fallen below our usual standards. As a result of Brenda's case, we are now reviewing our procedures for roof replacements and repairs, which involve liaising with different contractors, to see how we can improve them and make tenants are kept better informed throughout the entire process, as well as being made fully aware of what the work will involve at the beginning so they know what to expect when a complex repair such as this is required. So it sounds as if there's been a bit of an acknowledgement that things haven't been as good as they should have been. What's happened from your end? Because I gather you're feeling much happier now.
Yes, it's miraculous, actually. The Tuesday afternoon, after you'd spoken to them, they actually came round and put hardboard on the roof and a new tarpaulin, because although they inspected it again on the tarpaulin, they'd now discovered it was full of holes anyway. So that was a bit pointless looking at that tarpaulin, because they just looked and never inspected it, you know. So now they put the hardboard on Tuesday and covered it with a new tarpaulin, and then yesterday they came round and they've shored up the ceiling, and this morning they started on a new roof for me.
Fantastic. So they are there and work has begun.
They are here now, actually building me a new roof.
Fantastic.
And next week I'm supposed to be getting a new ceiling, and then after that they're going to I think they're going to plaster walls or something because they've got so wet, and then redecorate a new carpet.
Well, that's brilliant. And do you now feel as if it's all being taken seriously and they are going to get it all sorted for you?
Yes, I do, yes.
Because I know that was what you were finding frustrating before, that you just couldn't see an end to all of this and it was just dragging on and on and on. But it sounds as if that's now changed.
It has, yes. I'm so much happier.
Good. Well, I tell you what I'm going to do. Listen to this. It's a bit of the horn. The council will get the rest of the horn as soon as you come back on my programme and just confirm that everything is fixed. How long have they said it's going to take?
Well, I suppose they said next week will be the new ceiling. So, and
then redecoration, don't forget.
Yeah, it'll have to take all the walls to dry off and everything. So, you know, possibly, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
Yeah, I was going to say another couple of weeks at least, I would have thought, before it's all sorted. Well, what I will do, and I mean, the council, as all of our councils know with my programme, I'm not going anywhere until this is sorted. They will know that. So I am very confident they will do all they possibly can to get it fixed as soon as possible, so I can thank them fully and give them the rest of the horn. I'm very pleased that things are looking up so far, and I thank Welwyn Hatfield Council for making that happen since our conversation. It's been fairly rapid. Brenda, can you please keep me in the loop and we'll take it from there?
I will, and thank you very, very much for all your help.
It's an absolute pleasure. Now, Alexander purchased 2 sofas for £1,750. He got a 2-seater and a 4-seater. I think a footstool came with it as well. But it wasn't very long until he spotted something wrong, particularly with the larger of the two.
Where we were sitting, the cushions was dipping and they wasn't recovering. And then it started to look like the material was all going baggy and sagging and everything else. So we contacted the company. They sent out their technician who had a look and said, yes, they are dipping. He took some photos and said that he's going to put on his report to replace the foam. We've had the cushions replaced, and the second lot is doing exactly the same as the first lot. The technician came out and agreed they were sagging again, but then I had a phone call from the company, and they basically said we're sitting in them incorrectly and we're sitting in them for too long.
It's not like, you know, I'm a 30-stone man sitting on a sofa, because I'd understand then it's not supporting. We don't sit in it all day. As I say, we're out. We have things to do. And when we have our tea and coffee, we sit in our other chair and sofa.
So the furniture's not even a year old, and already it's all sagging in this kind of way. As you can imagine, Alexander's not at all happy, so I promised him I'd go off and have a word with the retailer on his behalf. They are Sofology, and Alexander's back on the JVS show now. Hello, Alexander.
Good morning, Jonathan.
Hello. So let me just recap on their response. They came back and said, thank you for your email. We take this very seriously. As a specialist retailer, we are aware that comfort is subjective, which is why we offer many variations and levels of comfort across our range of sofas. This particular sofa is designed to be a soft sit, so the density of foam and support is specified to achieve that snug feel, which many customers seek. The range has been available to purchase since 2017. We have sold in excess of 10,000 items with a very small complaint rate of 1%. As Alexander and his wife told us some months ago they were unhappy with this level of sit support, we've already replaced the foam cushions. We do not regard the sofa cushions as faulty, and we're clear that this particular sofa is designed to perform in this manner. We do have other firmer foam options within our range, but they're more expensive than the range in question. Having spoken directly to Alexander, we recognise that this sofa is not meeting his personal expectations, and so as a gesture of goodwill, we've offered a full refund and collection. Alexander declined our offer, preferring that we cover the cost of an alternative foam, as he remains happy with his furniture. The customer will source the parts himself, and Sofology will arrange new fabric covers for him at no charge. Alexander is very happy with this resolution. Kind of decided you like the actual look of the furniture, you like the way it fits in your room. You said that you'd looked for so long to find the right kind of furniture to go in your room, that this was the first sofa or first set of furniture that really looked right when you came across it. So you don't want to get rid of the whole thing and start from scratch, but you do want the foam to be firmer, and you do want it to be comfortable. So you were going to source your own foam through an upholsterer, and they're going to replace the cushion covers. Your upholsterer would then stuff the new foam in, and hopefully that will resolve the problem. Now, last time we spoke, he was going off to kind of get you a price for the foam. Have you had any word back from him yet?
Yes, I have. Just one thing. When they said they would replace the furniture, it was only a credit to use in their store again. It wasn't a complete refund. But apart from that, that's right. Yes, I have had contact with a man from the foam, and he's given me a price, and I've sent the price off to the company.
Can you tell us how much it is?
Yes, it was just under £300 for 2 pieces of foam.
Right.
And I've sent that off to them.
Hang on a second. Sorry to interrupt. For 2 pieces of foam.
Yeah, that's one. The two. Because the 4-seater sofa is only 2 pieces of foam you sit on, or 2 cushions.
Okay.
It's not. It's a 4-seater. But they're just bigger than the 2-seater sofa.
So you're not bothering with the foam on the other sofa?
No, there's nothing wrong with that at the minute. There's nothing wrong with that foam at all. You sit in that, and it's fine. It recovers. I don't know if it's because it's obviously the foam is smaller. I don't know what it is. But
do you sit in the other one?
Same problem with that.
Have you sat? Do you sit on the other sofa?
I have done. Yes, on occasionally. Don't use it as much.
Right. I would suggest that's probably why the other one is okay. Because if you're sitting on the bigger sofa, if that's the one you sit on kind of every evening, that's the one that's getting the use, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yeah. But even when their technician, came along for the second time and agreed that yes, it is dipping, but obviously it didn't go on the report. That didn't. But nevertheless, they've agreed to pay for the new foam. I have actually tipped the sofa up and had a look at the bottom of the frame, and there's no problem with the frame. It looks in good condition. It looks well made, so I've got no problem there at all with that. I've obviously been in touch again yesterday, and I had a phone call yesterday morning from the company, and they've refunded £300 to my account. It's not cleared yet, and they've actually given me a guarantee, an email stating that the sofa still comes with its 20-year guarantee, and they were going to send me 2 new cushion covers out as well to put in, so when I get the foam, it can all be put in. But as of yet, I've got nothing, but I've got it all in. They've emailed me and said that's what they're going to do, but I've actually got nothing in place yet. I've not actually ordered the foam.
No, okay, but I mean,
I'm waiting to make sure the money goes into my account.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any reason to believe that won't be the case, and I'm very impressed that they've paid you so promptly.
Yes, they did pay me. I had a phone call from the what was her title? I think the title was the Finance and Regulator Complaint Specialist. On Friday, and she said that the CEO has asked her to ring me, which she did on Friday. Spent, I think, about 25 minutes on the phone. And then, obviously, when I got home, I'd had an email from the guy for the phone, and I put an email together and sent it to them.
And have you, just out of interest, have you actually sampled this foam that he's going to put in the sofa?
Yes, he actually. I went round there, and he gave me 2 pieces of foam to try out for a few days.
And is it very firm?
Yes, it was. It was lovely. He's actually I actually contacted him yesterday, and he picked the samples up he gave me yesterday. Around, and we've got the old ones, but we had no problem. My wife was very pleased with the foam.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, the thing is, though, you are prepared for the fact that it is probably going to make the furniture feel different.
Yes, but of course he's local, and he's told me that it will give a bit, but it won't give like the foam we've got already.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I know exactly. I know exactly what you mean, and you know, with my own furniture as well. It's this kind of foam that's supposed to have a bit of squishiness at the top and the bottom. So you've got the firmer foam in the middle, and then the squishy bit of foam at the top, the squishy bit at the bottom, which is supposed to give it that kind of squishy feel of the sofa. But what ends up happening after a period of time, when you've sat on there with your bottom, is that the whole support of the foam goes, and you end up getting this dip forming, this bottom-shaped dip in the middle.
Yes. And that doesn't come back. I actually sat on it. I left it. I think it was on the Friday. I'm not can't remember what day it was now exactly. But I sat in it, and we went to bed. And I purposely didn't do anything to that cushion for the night to see what had happened in the morning.
And it was still there, like it in the morning.
It was still there, and you can push the material or the covering, and the material goes down. It doesn't do nothing. It just lays there, and you know, it just looks old and before its time. And you know, they say that yes, it's supposed to be and covers and recovers and things like that. But when you look at something in the store, that's what you expect to get. You buy a tin of beans, you expect to get a tin of beans. You don't expect a tin of tomatoes in there. And when my wife and I went to the shop several times, and went to all the other shops. And we left it, and we didn't actually buy anything that weekend. We come home, and then we went back again and had a look, so we knew what we was looking for, and what we wanted. Yeah. And when we chose that one, it felt lovely in the shop, and it felt exactly the same when we received it. And it wasn't until a couple of weeks later it started, and then you think, well, that's not actually what I actually expected. I expected to be able to sit on that, and it would stay like that. Comfortable, but it wasn't comfortable because it was dipping. It then starts to hurt your back, and especially my wife's back. And she said to me, "I'm getting a backache with this," and that's what you don't. You know, you're not paying that sort of. You know, you're not paying. Well, even if I paid a tenner, I would expect to be what I expect to pay for. Didn't expect to pay so much money and get a poor item.
Well, listen,
it's still not a good quality if you look at it. If you're paying X amount of pounds for something, you expect it to last.
Listen, it sounds as if things are on the way to being resolved, and hopefully you'll be much, much happy with the foam. Now, Robert purchased a smartwatch for his wife because she wanted to monitor her heart rate. Well, when it arrived, it was much bigger than she expected. She didn't like it. So they tried to return it using the consumer contract regulations, used to be known as distance selling regulations, which gives you a 14-day window of opportunity when you receive something from a mail order or online company to return goods because you don't like the look of it. Well, when he tried to return it, the company offered a credit note. So he thought, OK, well, I'll swap it for one that I can wear instead.
I went to the company and asked about their returns policy, and they said it was store credit only. Well, that wasn't really a problem, so I thought I'd just exchange it for a black one. The one that my wife ordered was pink. I didn't much like that. We then had a bit of a confusion over the company name, and a few emails went back and forth. And then I returned the watch. I got proof of delivery from the post office, and I've heard nothing since.
Well, he got confirmation of the purchase back in December, but he still doesn't have the watch. He hasn't been able to get his money back. It's been a nightmare. Now, I'm afraid, ladies and gentlemen, this is a bit of a lesson for everyone that the internet is a big wide world. And just because a company looks like it's got a lovely glossy website and they look terribly bona fide, it doesn't necessarily mean if you have a problem with that company, you're going to get great customer service. And that's exactly the situation Robert has found himself in. And unfortunately, when I've tried to contact this company on Robert's behalf, they have not responded to me at all. Robert's back on the JVS show. Hello, Robert.
Hello.
Good morning. Now, the company concerned, as you know, it's a company that you'd never heard of before, but they are londonfinesse.co.uk. Now, if you happen to look up London Finesse and do your homework on this company, you will see that there are lots and lots of people who seem less than satisfied with the response that they have had from this company. Now, the chances are, had you come across some of those reviews, I hazard a guess, Robert, you would not have gone ahead and purchased this smartwatch from them.
Certainly.
So, as I explained to you, they haven't responded. We've had no response whatsoever. But there was a glimmer of hope. And the glimmer of hope was that you had made this payment for the watch using your card. It was a debit card, wasn't it?
It was. No, it was a credit card.
Sorry, it's a credit card. And therefore you were eligible to do what is known as a chargeback using your credit card company. Now, you were going to contact them and ask them for the money back. I know they'd suggested to you that there was likely to be a bit of a delay, but my team tell me things have happened. What's going on, Robert?
Well, nothing much has happened, really. I've got the refund. The refund is from the credit card company.
Well, I call that quite a lot's happened, actually.
They've marked the statement as disputed adjustment.
Yeah.
But the merchant has the opportunity to challenge the claim. So if that happens, the bank are going to be in contact with me again.
Okay. Well, I mean, you say not a lot's happened. I think getting your money back from the credit card...
Well, sure, yeah.
I consider that to be quite a good result. Now, I agree with you. There is still the chance, should londonfinesse.co.uk, should they suddenly provide your credit card company with evidence that they have indeed sent you out the product that you've paid for, and you know, should they argue that, in fact, what you've said and the story you've told is a load of nonsense, well, there is a chance that your credit card company may well take that money back from you. But it doesn't sound, from what you've told me already, as if they're going to be able to do that, Robert.
Well, hopefully not. But they've got the opportunity to challenge the claim. That's the last line in the letter from the bank.
Yes, they have got the opportunity to challenge the claim. But if they were to challenge the claim successfully, they would need to be able to prove to the credit card company that what you have complained about is nonsense, that they sent you out the product, that you've received the product, that you're happy with the product, that you haven't tried to return the product. And based on what you've told me, they're not going to be able to do that, are they?
I don't think so, no. No, I'm quite sure that I'm in the right, as it were.
Well, I'm fairly sure, based on what you've told me, that you're not going to have that money taken back from you. If, of course, you do, well, I'd very much like you to come back to me and let me know. But I think we can probably be fairly relaxed that that money's now back on your card and you can use it to buy another smartwatch. Now, have you had a look into another smartwatch from another company for your wife?
No, I think we've given up on that.
Right. Okay. So you're just not going to bother at all?
No, we're not.
Okay. And will you promise me, Robert, from now on, if ever you're going to look on the internet and you're going to buy something on the internet, can you promise me you'll make sure that you only buy from good, reputable, well-known companies that have years of providing customers with great customer service, and on the rare occasion that you find something from a website that you've not heard of, that you take a step back and do lots of research and look at other customer reviews just to see what people are saying about them before you go ahead and make the purchase?
Yes. Too true. I looked at the customer reviews after I'd bought it. Of course, you do. You know, after the horse is gone.
Well, yes,
so,
unfortunately
that was a bit late then.
It was a bit late. Never mind. You'll know for future, and thank goodness this particular lesson that has been learnt, you've, at the moment, certainly managed to get your money back. I will thank your credit card company. Thank goodness for credit cards. Any other problems, Robert, you know where we are.
Thanks for taking my call, but I'm not sure if you're going to be able to help. So if you say there's nothing we can do, I can put a line under it then and just forget about it. But
okay.
I bought my son some tickets to see an artist. He was working in Portland in Oregon, my son. So the artist that he wanted to see, he missed out seeing him in the UK. So they were playing in Portland where he was working. So I thought it'd be a nice gesture to buy him the tickets. So I bought the tickets in December. I'm a bit nervous.
Don't worry about it. Everyone's getting nervous. Imagine how I feel. I have to sit here for hours doing this every day. I'm a bag of nerves. Listen, don't worry about it at all. So he was working in Portland and you bought him tickets to go and see this artist while the artist was over there?
Yeah. Well, he is from over there anyway. But
okay.
I bought the tickets in December 2019, and the show was supposed to be in April 20. But obviously, everything was cancelled to the pandemic. You know, everything stopped.
How much were the tickets?
They're not a huge amount of money. I paid £99.82 for the tickets. It was 2 tickets, so they weren't big mega tickets. It's just that's what they were.
Okay.
They were transferred into dollars because obviously it was, not UK based.
So did you book these tickets through an American based company?
I guess so. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. That's another reason I don't know whether you'll be able to help me.
And did you use your credit card?
I did.
Okay.
I did use a credit card.
Well done.
At the time, everything closed down, including where my son was working. So he could still work from home because the place he works for was still working, but online. And they said to him if he wanted to come, go home and work online, he could. Well, he'd let his flat out because he lives in London, but he came home to live here with us because we didn't know how long the close down was going to be for. So he was here then last year living with us. So we didn't really think too much about the tickets. And then we got an email on the 19th of March to say that it had been postponed, but the tickets were still valid and they would be honoured when there would be a reschedule.
Right.
So we were happy with that. Then we got an email to say on the 24th of April that a credit had been issued. And so we thought, oh, well, that's good. We've got credit. But they didn't. We didn't pay too much attention. But they didn't issue a credit code with it. But they just said we'd been issued with credit. So we just thought that's okay. And he couldn't get back to the US anyway. Nothing was going on. So it wasn't like it was going on in this country and not going on over there. Everywhere was the same. The whole world had basically closed down. So he was living here with us. So I kind of left it to him because I'm not very good with online stuff. I'm a bit of a dinosaur, to be honest. So while he was here, I left it to him to keep in contact, know what was going on, because he had access to my email account so that he could see.
Yeah.
So we had no contact at all from them. And then he contacted them via my email on the 21st of April 21 to find out about what's happening and what's going on with the credit. And he was told that the store credit had to be used by the 30th of April 21. So obviously the artist he wanted to see wasn't going to be rescheduling in that time. And we just thought, because I've bought tickets for another concert and we're hanging on because they just want to keep our money until this artist plays. This is in this country. And I just assumed that would be the same over there. So anyway, he was told that the credit had to be used by the 30th. But he said, well,
so he should have just booked to go and see anyone else that you could book through this company. By the end, right? Okay, but you might not want to see anyone else.
Well, he didn't really, and that was the thing, you see. But anyway, so he was sort of hanging on until and he was looking through the lists to see who he might be interested in, but there wasn't really anybody. But anyway, there was one thing he thought, well, that would be better than just wasting the money, because he is going back. I mean, I was saying to your lady that he can't go back until he's had his vaccinations, because if he goes back over there, he might fall through the net over there and not get his vaccination. So it's all a bit awkward. But his company is opening up again, and the people are back at work, so they want him back really. Right. But anyway, so he was told that he had to use the store credit by the 30th of April. That's right, I told you that bit. So he attempted to use the code. They gave him the code then, because he hadn't been given a code. He hadn't been given any information or anything. So he attempted to use the code on the 26th of April, and it come up that it had expired, and that's it. And then he had email, like one of these online chat things with them, and they basically said that there's nothing they can do, that it's all expired. And that's where we are with it now. And it's like, well, I feel like I need to just write it off and forget about it, because it's just annoying.
Have you tried to put a claim in through your credit card company?
Well, there's a problem there as well. One of the things is I don't have that credit card anymore, because I changed credit cards and I closed that credit card. But I did ring them just to find out, and they said to me that even though I've closed the card, there is a way of getting the money back, but that I've got to go and they won't do anything until I can show them in the terms and conditions about this concert. But I've gone through the terms and conditions, and I can't see. I mean, in the initial email they sent me, they said that it would be honoured and rescheduled.
Okay.
So
Sounds like I mean, look, I'm not going to make you any promises, because we're dealing with a company based in the US. Yeah. Obviously, I'm much more limited in terms of what I can do, and I'm dealing with a company based in another country. But let me get a call into them. Let's see what they have to say for themselves, and see if there is anything else they can do. Because at the moment, it does look like you've kind of lost £100, doesn't it?
It does really, yeah. And I kind of think I have, but I think if you sort of say no, there's nothing, then I know I've tried everything. You know.
Okay, that seems fair. Let's see what we can do to help. No promises, but we'll try. Desiree, I'll pass you back to Tara. We'll get some detail. Okay. Les lives in a medium-sized bungalow with gas central heating. A year ago, he was paying about £166 a month just for the electricity, which, as far as I'm concerned, is a huge amount. But it's got even worse since then.
They've been taking ever-increasing amounts of money by direct debit, and they are now saying that I should be paying £2,154 per month. Now, I know the problem, the reason is that their meter is faulty.
Right.
I've had this confirmed by one of their engineers, but they just will not accept it and are coming up with all sorts of excuses.
Well, it's so frustrating. I mean, it's just blooming obvious. You don't need to be an expert in electricity meters to see that there's clearly something wrong with the meter. Because nobody's electricity bill should be, thousands of pounds a month. It's just absolutely crackers. So I've been off to have a word with the company to try and get things sorted out. They finally seemed to accept that indeed there is a problem with the meter and they need to sort it out. Les is back on the JVS show. Hello, Les.
Hello, Jonathan.
Hello, Les. So the company concerned is E.ON. And they came back, they said, we are aware of Les's concerns and we're already working to resolve this matter. Our engineer has inspected the meter and confirmed that it is faulty. We'll be contacting Les to arrange a convenient appointment for a replacement meter to be installed, all charges on the account are already paused while we work to fully resolve this matter. This is an unusual situation which we're working to resolve as quickly as possible. Now, they went on just to provide a bit of further background information. They said the direct debit that was up and running for you had been switched off on a temporary basis until they got it sorted. They said once the new meter was fitted, they would then monitor your readings for a period of time until they were satisfied that firstly the meter was working correctly, and also they knew roughly how much you were actually using in terms of electricity. Now, they went on to say that you'd been a customer of theirs for several years, so they have historic readings to compare against the new meter, and would then come to an arrangement with you in terms of what you actually need to pay, or in fact, as I suspect, how much money they owe you back. Because I suspect you've probably been paying them a lot more money for electricity than you've been using. What's happened since we last spoke, Les? I gather there have been some developments.
Yes, they have apologised and confirmed that the meter is faulty and it has not been tampered with, and they are changing it on the 17th of May.
Okay.
Next Monday. They have confirmed that they will then closely monitor the meter and see what electricity I'm actually using, and then they will recalculate my bills going back.
Right, okay.
And I've also had an email from the director's office now confirming this.
Good. Well, it's certainly the director's office, as far as I'm aware, that are now dealing with this matter, because, you know, it's via the director's office they've come back with this response to me. So,
right,
you've got the top people working on it at E.ON, and it's just very frustrating that it's kind of taken all of this, because I would imagine over the last few months or so, I would imagine this has been very stressful.
It has been very stressful, yes, indeed, and but a lot better since you helped out.
Well, that's good. I'm a bit jaded about electricity and gas providers, to be honest with you, and I'm in a situation where, having just got myself an electric car, I'm thinking about possibly switching my gas and electricity and getting one of these smart meters.
Yes.
But the trouble is, over the years, Les, I have dealt with so many complaints like yours that just mean I'm always worried, because I just think the stress of it when it goes wrong, and when you start receiving, you know, bills for crazy amounts, and it just worries me that kind of thing will happen, you know, in the future. So, I mean, let's just hope that where you're concerned, this is all resolved now and you're not going to have any other problems in the future.
No, I hope not.
I hope not as well. Well, shall I think at this stage I won't give E.ON the rest of the horn, but I'll give them this.
Okay.
Just an extra honk as a bit of further encouragement, okay?
Yes, fine, thank you very much.
Can you please keep me in the loop and let me know what happens?
Yes, I will. Yeah.
All right. Eline's on the line. Hello, Eline.
Hello again, Jonathan.
Hello. I gather you have a consumer problem. Tell me all about it without naming any company names, please.
Okay. Back in 2020, my friend and her husband and myself and my daughter, we booked a holiday, a flight with EasyJet.
Now, I did just say I didn't want any company names, and immediately you've come out with a company, so I'm afraid we're going to have to leave it there. But thank you, Eline. I do always say, so important not to name any company names, and that's the reason. Because it's unfair on the company. Until we've had a chance to go and speak to them and try and sort it out, I'm afraid we can't assist. So sorry, Eline, but I won't be able to assist you. Now, Miriam came to me. Do you remember? She was telling me that she purchased a 4-door American-style fridge freezer. This was back in the middle of 2018. It was just under £900. But a few months down the line, Miriam noticed there was an issue with it.
Christmas time of 2018, I started to notice that the doors continuously closed at great speed. I found it very difficult to hold them open, to either wash the fridge or to load it with anything or to put anything in. I'd have to hold the doors open, literally, with my bar stools. They're both open now. That's them both closing. you wouldn't let a child go to the fridge to take something out.
Well, Miriam tried to contact the retailer and the manufacturer in early 2019, but wasn't getting anywhere. Eventually, the manufacturer contacted her on social media and said they could put her in touch with a local repair company that could come round, but they'd want £180 for having a look at it. Well, Miriam wasn't at all happy with that. She said that she didn't see why she should have to pay any money. This fridge freezer clearly was not working properly. Nobody would buy a fridge freezer that has doors that close so vigorously you practically get trapped in them. She said if a child was to try and get something out of the fridge, the way these doors shut could literally knock a child out. Well, we've been trying to assist her. She's back on the JVS show now. Hello, Miriam.
Hello, Jonathan.
Hello, Miriam. Now, what a journey we've all been on with this, because I know Tara went off to speak to the retailer and the manufacturer. Now, the retailer straight away said, yeah, OK, we can give you loads of help. We can come out and change the fridge freezer. But that wasn't really what you wanted, because you really liked your existing fridge freezer. You said it was the right colour, it was the right size. It just looked nice in the kitchen. What you would have much preferred was for someone to come and adjust the doors so they don't slam shut. Now, you would have thought that's a fairly straightforward thing. And when you were then informed by the manufacturer that they were going to send one of their engineers to come all the way down from the North
Pole, practically.
Yeah, miles
Newcastle,
away.
Yes.
Newcastle, he was coming all the way from Newcastle. So it was so far away, he was having to spend the night in a local hotel to then come and adjust your fridge freezer doors the following day.
5.5 hours drive.
We had high hopes because we were thinking, well, I mean, obviously they're going to send their top bloke. He's going to know what to...
hopes as well.
Yes, he's going to know what to do. He'll know the right screw to tighten or the right hinge to change to make the doors close slower. But when this guy came out, well, to be honest with you, he didn't really seem to have any idea. And what he did was put a bit of wood at the back of it to try and lift the whole thing forward so that the weight was at the front of the fridge freezer. Well, that kind of cured the problem for one of the doors, but not the other one. But then you said it wouldn't really have been a long-term solution anyway, because it meant your whole fridge freezer was leaning forward, and anything you put on the top shelf, like a can or something, just slid towards the front of the fridge.
That's right.
So you could have ended up with a situation where every time you open the fridge door, things would fall out on you. Yeah, exactly. You were knocked out with Tupperware pots left, right and centre.
Mike Tyson of fridges.
Yeah, quite. So we're left with no alternative really but to go back to the retailer and say, look, it's not really what Miriam wants, but she would rather have a replacement than have to put up with these fridge freezer doors. So you were going to be choosing an alternative. I think it was from the same manufacturer, wasn't it? Because you do like the look of their products.
Yes, it's the same manufacturers, but I had to go with them to a point because of the height. The sort of fridge freezers, the 4 doors, the one I went for was the only one that would fit in the space that I had originally.
Yeah. So what's the latest on this then? Are we hoping that your fridge has now arrived, you're happy with it, and there are no issues whatsoever? Bring us up to speed, Miriam. What's going on?
Well, the fridge freezer arrived, fantastic, worked brilliantly. Doors don't close like at such speed, they were great. Off they went, the guys who delivered it. And
there was the problem with the water, wasn't there? The water dispenser.
The water tank didn't work. The lever on the outside wouldn't connect with the lever on the inside. So I contacted the retailer. They said, OK, we'll send someone out. Sent 2 people out. Nobody could fix it. So yesterday, a new fridge freezer turned up. I decided not to take the whole fridge freezer, just to have the 2 doors changed. One was the door that had the water tank, and then the other one is just the other side. Out on the drive, they took everything off. They filled the tank up with water, pressed the lever, and it worked. We had water. So the guys brought it in, put the doors on, and one of the guys, while he was doing that, was standing on it's sort of like a step ladder, but they're quite wide, sort of like a platform. And all of a sudden, crash, bang, wallop, he falls off the ladder.
Oh, my God.
Sort of like, my God, what's happening? He then, obviously, we gave him one of our step ladders, finished the job. And when he went, I was cleaning the floor, and there's a massive big dent taken out of my wood on the floor. He's obviously when he fell off the ladder, it's metal, he's taken a chunk out of the floor and the wood. But I'm going to overlook that. I've filled it in. My husband's coloured it in with the wood colour crayons, and it looks fine. But my fridge freezer is all working. I know, it's a story and a half, isn't it? It can only happen to me, seriously.
Well, do you always have this much drama with everything you deal with?
Well, I am Italian, so I suppose I create a little bit of drama.
Oh, okay. So the guy that comes round ends up falling off his ladder, falls on the floor, and in the process damages your wooden floor.
Yeah.
Right. Was he okay?
He was fine. That was the main concern. It's only a little scratch. He's taken a dent out of it. But he didn't realise that until after he'd gone and I'd cleaned the floor. So there was all sort of boxes and sort of the polystyrene was all on the floor and he didn't notice it. But honestly, Jonathan, it's not a problem. My husband filled it in with the wood crayon, and you wouldn't even notice. I'm not even going to complain about that. I can't be doing with that.
Right.
Plus, I haven't got any more woods left because the guy from the manufacturer used the last plank of wood. So unless they want to fix all my flooring, but no, we're not going there. But my fridge freezer works. The doors close nicely. The water tank fills up nicely, and it comes out. That's the main thing.
Right.
It's almost a Laurel and Hardy sketch. It's a good job you weren't having a problem with a piano, because I can just imagine some sort of cacophony of chaos ensuing.
Falling through the ceiling or something.
Honestly,
Miriam.
when things go wrong with me, they go from start to finish. They really do. But this one has worked out fine.
Right. Okay, so we're going to call it a result, yeah?
Yes, but I would honestly say, though, Jonathan, the retailers have been absolutely brilliant from start to finish. I've had communication with them all the time. They've sort of rung me up just to make sure that I was happy. I couldn't fault them, but the manufacturers, I haven't heard from them. Once they sent you that report, I haven't even had a phone call to say, I hope everything's right. It was like they've washed their hands with it, and I don't even think they need the horn, honestly, Jonathan. The retailers...
And yet you still went for another one of their fridge freezers.
I know, that was the thing. The retailers were really, really good. They gave me a price I could spend up to, and it was a lot more than what I'd paid, but I couldn't fit it into the gap. I did look at another make, but most of these four-door fridge freezers are all with built-in ice, and they had to be plumbed in, and I didn't want the ice. I just wanted the water.
Yeah.
A lot of these four doors, that's what they come with now. So the manufacturers were the only one that did this other one, was an update of mine, and unfortunately, yes, I had to go with them again. But, the products are good to a point. We have a television through them, but I don't find their customer service to be top, not like the retailers.
Okay, who was the retailer? We won't name the manufacturer, but who was the retailer, Tara?
It was Curry's PC World, and they did say to us that they were really sorry that Miriam had experienced issues with the faulty fridge freezer, and they made contact with the customer as the product was not able to be repaired. They agreed an exchange for a brand new product, and that you were happy with the resolution. And finally, Miriam, you were.
Fantastic.
I was, and I must say that right from the beginning, they've been absolutely brilliant. Nothing was too much for them.
Well,
absolutely.
I will give them my infamous horn and thank them very much indeed. Yes. If you have any other problems, Miriam, you know where we are.
Let's hope not, Jonathan.
Thank you very much indeed, Tara, and thank you, Curry's PC World. Now, do you remember Alison? She came to me earlier this week. She was saying that she's got a problem with her broadband. It's all because of something unusual that happened on April the 20th.
I've been lorry, had an accident and drove into one of our landline pylons outside our house. It wasn't very pleasant, but thankfully we think the driver was okay, so that's one of the main things. All I witnessed was unfortunately the lorry ending up in the field after hitting the pylon and the fence and ending up in the farmer's field. So it could have been a lot worse. The telegraph pole is still on the floor. It still has police tape around it. We've basically spoken to our service provider because we know that our contract is with our service provider. We've basically been onto our service provider every second day with so many different excuses as to why it's not been fixed. And the last straw kind of was like yesterday when, again, it was supposed to be fixed yesterday, and we're still here without any broadband or landline attached to our house.
Well, 3 households have been affected. That's 3 homes with no broadband and no phone service. And let's be honest, at a time when so many people are still working from home and so many children need access to the internet for their work, It's unacceptable for people to be left for any significant length of time without this service. Now, I've been off to have a word with both Allison's provider and also the company that provides the infrastructure for the provider. Rather disappointingly, Allison's actual service provider has not even acknowledged my email. But thankfully, the infrastructure provider has done and seems to have pulled out all the stops to try and get things sorted. Let's find out how things are looking now, because Alison's back on the JVS show. Hello, Alison.
Hello, Jonathan. How are you?
Hello. Yes, I'm well, thank you. So, just out of interest, have you heard anything from your service provider?
Well, pretty much like you, we've received a text from them saying good news. Do you want me to read the rest of the text?
What, this is from your service provider? This is the company you have the contract with, yeah?
Correct. That's right, yeah.
Okay, what do they say in their text?
So this is the only communication we've had from them. So good news, we have fixed the ongoing issue. If we can help in any other way, please contact us.
We have fixed it?
Yep.
Wow.
I know, aren't they great?
Well, I mean, talk about taking the credit for something that it would appear another company has done. Your service provider is Sky, and I would love to be able to read a response from Sky to your complaint and the problems that you've had, but as I say, they haven't even acknowledged my email. The other company concerned is Openreach, who of course provide the infrastructure for broadband suppliers and for phone line companies. So, they've come back with this response. An Openreach spokesperson has said, "We are really sorry that Alison and her two neighbours have been left without their landlines and broadband for the past 10 days. We attended the site on the same day as the smash, made the area safe and established that there was no cable damage. 2 residents confirmed they had service, but 1 resident advised they didn't, and we were able to provide temporary service for them." Subsequent faults were raised on the 23rd of April, but unfortunately they were not escalated in the way they should have been. We've now restored service to all the premises and have prioritised the replacement of the pole. Unfortunately, due to a recent large number of accidents involving our poles, we have a delay on replacement, but we'll do whatever we can to have it replaced safely and as quickly as possible. Our advice for anyone affected by a broadband outage is that they should contact their provider, who will contact us. Members of the public can also help us by reporting any damage or unsafe equipment on our network via the help and support section of our website. So am I to take it that you are now fully up and running thanks to Openreach?
We are, and thank you very much, Openreach.
Brilliant. So sorry, just out of interest, when did they get the line back up and running for you?
A few hours after you spoke to them, I believe. So by 4 o'clock on that Tuesday, funnily enough, and it was still a bit of a mess because one Openreach van turned up, and obviously the lines have been pulled down from wherever they were. But the guy that came out wasn't able to climb the ladder due to an illness, so he wasn't able to do exactly what he needed to do. So he had to then phone another colleague who then turned up on site a few hours later, but in the end, everything is sorted, and we now have broadband and landline as of Tuesday afternoon. So
right.
Thank you.
And Sky appear to have taken the credit for it by texting you to say, we've fixed your problem, despite the fact that they haven't even responded to the email that I've sent them.
Absolutely. Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they haven't mentioned anything to us in regards to, we obviously not want to claim compensation, but we do want something in return to not providing us with any service that we could use, like a dongle, as you mentioned.
Yes, I think
it's the 10 days that we haven't had.
I think it's perfectly reasonable for you to say to them, and as you quite rightly point out, you're not talking about compensation. That's not what you're looking for at all. What you're looking for is recognition for the fact that you have not had the service that you paid for through no fault of your own. And you felt, and it would appear based on this Openreach response, when they suggest that, they hadn't received the escalation in the way that it should have been escalated. None of this is your fault. So you've been left without the service, and you want recognition for the fact that you haven't had the service that you've paid for, and you'd like them to reimburse you or to discount something off your next bill. So I think I would definitely be inclined to raise that further with them. Sky, if you listen to this, and they will undoubtedly receive a recording of this, it's very disappointing that you didn't respond and you didn't provide anything for me to include in this programme from you, and I hope that you will address this with your customer, and I hope you will address the fact that she and her family have not received the service that they've been paying you for. Alison, we will thank Openreach. I'm going to give them the horn for getting this one sorted out. Any other problems, you know where we are.
Brilliant. Thank you to you and your team, John. That's great.
Larry's on the line. Larry had an issue with his tumble dryer. He'd had this tumble dryer for 35 months. It was not working properly, so he contacted the retailer.
They offered me a payment of £72.73 in full and final settlement. It would be made by way payment of a payment voucher to be used in their shop. Because I'd been in touch with you, I wanted advice from yourself before I contacted them again. It's not so much the amount they've offered, because I understand from listening to your programme before, you know, about the wear and tear over the 35 months I've had it. I accept the value. But one of the things that does bug me is the fact that it's a voucher which can only be used in their store.
Well, I had a couple of issues then that I needed to go and raise with the retailer. I have done that on Larry's behalf. He's back on the JVS show. Hello, Larry.
Good morning, Jonathan. How are you?
Now, we kind of worked out, didn't we, that this tumble dryer, if we worked on the basis that the tumble dryer you would reasonably expect to last for 5 years before it croaks it, we worked out that the amount back that you would expect, taking into account the usage that you have had from the machine, would be around £92.
Yeah.
But in fact, the offer from the retailer was about 72 quid. So there were a couple of things I needed to do. Firstly, I needed to ask them to up their offer of 72 quid because it wasn't quite enough. But also to raise this issue with them as to whether they were prepared to translate this into a cash payment rather than a voucher payment, which then gives you the opportunity to decide what you're going to do with it.
Yeah.
Because the other thing worth just including in all of this is that you did mention to me there is a 10-year parts guarantee on the tumble dryer.
Correct.
So, of course, there is the potential that any parts that are required to fix it would be replaced for free by the manufacturer. So you might decide to use that money that they are offering, or that you were hoping they were going to offer you, to repair your existing tumble dryer instead. The point is, you wanted the freedom to choose what to do with it.
Correct.
So I've been off to have a word with the retailer concerned. They are Currys, and they've come back with this response. Currys PC World, to be precise. They say, we were sorry to hear that Larry's tumble dryer developed a fault. As his product was out of warranty, our customer service team followed process and offered Larry the depreciated credit in the form of a voucher. Larry was unhappy with the depreciated sum offered and the payment method. Our customer services team have reviewed the offer and, as a gesture of goodwill, have agreed on a backs transfer. Larry is happy with our resolution. Now, that sounds good, but I think the result is actually even better than that, because they then go on just to provide a bit of further information to suggest that they may well have upped the offer that they've made to you as well. What's happened? What have you heard from them, Larry?
Well, I did get a call from them a couple of hours after speaking to yourself, and yes, they did agree to do the back payment, and they've actually doubled their offer, so it's now £145.
Brilliant. In cash?
Yeah. So I am well pleased.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, and I did take your advice, and I phoned the number on the machine.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that it's a sort of like an insurance company that work in conjunction with the manufacturer.
Oh, right, okay.
Because he did say to me that if I'd have gone direct to the manufacturer, they would have charged me £129 call-out, plus parts and labour, etc.
Plus parts? I thought it had a 10-year parts guarantee.
Sorry, not parts charges, labour charges. I do apologise.
Right.
Yeah, but he also said that they could offer me 12 months payment of £15.50 a month.
Oh, okay, right. Well, forget that.
Yeah, I did, because I've been told by a member of my family, they've given me the details of somebody local who is very reliable, does not have a call-out charge, and will not attempt to repair it if he considers it to be unrepairable.
Oh, great.
So now I've got that option, which as soon as I've got the money, I should be contacting that person and having him look at it. And if he can repair it, I will go ahead. If not, then I've got the money to spend as and where I choose now to buy a replacement. So it's a brilliant result as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, well, I think it's a pretty brilliant result as well. And I will thank Curry's PC World very much and give them my horn. Can you please let me know what you're going to do in terms of whether you are going to get it repaired or replace it?
I will do, yeah. I should be getting, from what they said, it would be 5 to 7 working days, which should take us up to next Friday.
Right.
So I should have the money sometime next week with a bit of luck.
Well, I'll tell you what I'll do then.
Contact this guy.
I'm going to slightly revise my decision. I was going to give them the full horn. I'll give them this. 2/3 of my horn.
Sounds good.
I will save 1/3 for when you confirm that the money is in your account. Can you please keep me posted?
Yes, most definitely.
Brilliant. OK, I'll speak to you very soon.
OK, and thanks a lot to your team for what they've done. I can't believe how quick it's been resolved.
No more crunchy towels in Larry's household.
Hopefully not.
No, hopefully not. Thank you very much indeed. Now, Mel is the manager of a sheltered housing scheme and has come to me on behalf of one of her elderly residents who's 83. Apparently, he wanted to go to Japan in April of last year. But when he found out that his entire holiday would have to be spent in quarantine because of the virus, well, he cancelled. He was told the only option available to him would be to accept a voucher. But that doesn't really work for his circumstances.
We've been in contact with the airline quite a lot recently with the complaints department, and all we seem to see getting is scripted replies from the complaint department explaining that we've entered into terms and conditions with the voucher, and once you've entered into these terms and conditions, you can't get a refund. I've also explained to them my resident's 83 years of age and his health has declined and he's not well enough to fly anywhere and won't ever will be again, unfortunately. So if he can't get this money refunded, and it's £600 plus, then he's simply going to lose it. And the only other option they've been able to give us is that somebody else can use the voucher and give him the money, which isn't an option either. So they're basically saying you've got to accept losing this amount of money because they won't refund it.
Well, as I had suggested to Mel when she first came to the programme, the chances are the airline was perfectly within its rights to do what it was doing. If you agreed to accept a voucher through an airline, generally there will be terms and conditions associated with acceptance of that voucher, and by doing so, you agree to the terms and conditions. And if the terms and conditions quite clearly state that now you've accepted this voucher, you are no longer entitled to a refund, well, in terms of the law and in terms of your actual legal rights, they've probably just gone straight out the window. But I did say to Mel that I would contact the company and just see if I could do anything. And of course, an awful lot of this kind of thing depends on who you get through to. And I'm thinking, well, I hope I can get through to someone nice, someone that will see things from Mel's perspective and from her resident's perspective. And I think I struck lucky. Mel's back on the JVS show. Hello, Mel.
Hello.
I got through to a really nice guy, Mel.
Oh, that's good to hear.
And I explained the situation, and he said, OK, let me go and have a word with our customer service team, and I'll come back to you. He came back to me and he said, well, to be honest, the terms and conditions are very clear that by accepting a voucher, that voucher then means that you are no longer entitled to translate that into a financial reimbursement at all. The voucher is there. The voucher is still in existence. The voucher is there for Mel's resident if he wants it. Or alternatively, he can give that voucher to someone else. So, for example, a family member who wants to fly, and they can book something with it instead. So I'm thinking to myself, oh, this isn't going to go very well. Because that was kind of what I'd braced you for, wasn't it?
It was, yes.
He said the only thing really that the only thing that we would be able to do is in very exceptional circumstances. For example, if someone is terminally ill, then at that point we would be able to make a cash refund. But it would have to be very exceptional circumstances. We are quite strict on this.
Yeah.
So I said, well, he said, is this gentleman, is he terminally ill? And I said, well, no, I can't say hand on heart that he's terminally ill, because all you'd said to me, Mel, was that his health had declined a lot and he was no longer in a fit state to be able to fly, and was unlikely to be able to fly in the future.
Yeah.
So that's what I said to him. I said, I can't, he's not terminally ill as far as I'm aware, but his health has sadly deteriorated and he's not going to be able to fly again as a result. So this nice chap at the company said, OK, well, let me see what I can do based on that, because he said that information we were unaware of and our customer service team were unaware of that. So that might make a difference. He said, leave it with me. Let me see if I can do anything. Called me back yesterday afternoon and he said, yeah, the customer services team will accept that. We will give the gentleman a full refund.
That is absolutely fantastic news. I'm so grateful for you, and so will my resident be. That's made my Friday. Thank you ever so much for that. That is brilliant.
They said that they're going to be processing the refund within the next few days. So I don't know how did he pay for it? On a card, I presume.
Yes, yeah, bank card, debit card.
Okay. Well, it should go back to his bank card. Just as you might want to find a nice opportunity at some point just to advise him that paying on credit card is a safer way of making payments, particularly for expensive things like flights. Just for future reference, I always advise paying by credit card because you're covered by the Consumer Credit Act. But they have said that, yeah, they're going to give him a full refund. This is an exceptional case. These are exceptional circumstances, and this is not something he's actually entitled to. But based on his circumstances, they want to go that extra mile to sort it. So that sounds great.
Oh, that is absolutely fantastic. Like I say, you've made my Friday, and you certainly will have made my residents' Friday. That is such brilliant news to hear. That is fantastic.
What I'm going to do...
Thank you enough.
What I'm going to do, I'm going to give the airline... And incidentally, I should point out the airline would like to remain anonymous, and that's absolutely fine. And I think this is one of the reasons why we don't name companies, certainly from the outset, because in this case, for example, it gives so much more negotiating power to have not identified this airline in any way. So I'm going to give them this. They will get the rest as soon as your resident has a full refund, OK?
Oh, brilliant. No, that is such fantastic news. I can't thank you enough. Thank you so, so much. Thank you for your help.
It's a pleasure. Please let me know as soon as he receives the money and I'll give them the rest of the horn. Shirley likes a certain type of dishwasher tablet. She's a very loyal customer when it comes to the brand, but currently she's not at all happy with them.
I always buy my dishwasher tablets in bulk online, and my usual supplier has stopped making the ones I like. The ones with all the ticks on, that non-cloudy glasses and all the bells and whistles. So I just did a general set. And the manufacturer, they came back with quite a good deal. It was $34.99, and then I got a welcome discount of £5.24. So I ended up paying $29.75. They've just never arrived. This was on the 3rd of April I ordered them. No response, no reply to the email, nothing. And I've had no dishwasher tablets.
Well, where are they? Very simple. She's paid for them. She wants them. And if she can't have them, she'd like her money back, please. Very straightforward, isn't it, Shirley?
Yeah, it is indeed.
And that's exactly what I went to raise with this company on your behalf. Now, the tablets that you wanted were Finish dishwasher tablets. Yep. So I went off to have a word with the parent company that owns the Finish brand. And I've received an email from the top. Dear Jonathan Vernon-Smith, please allow me to introduce myself to you. I am the European Head of Supply Services for our direct-to-consumer brands within Reckitt, one being Finish. I wanted to personally thank Shirley for supporting Finish. I wanted to directly pick up with you in terms of your comments around a recent order. It goes on to say, I have to apologise and tell you that in the case of Shirley's order, which was placed on the 3rd of April, it simply didn't transition over to our dispatch portal in our back-end web store. IT issue, as you can imagine, as IT issues can happen, but we didn't pick this up sooner than I would have liked. I've actioned a full refund, and as a further gesture of goodwill, I will dispatch the original order today, and it will arrive with Shirley in the next few days. I wanted to personally reach out to you to thank you for reaching out with any feedback. It's always gratefully received. I will also reach out. There's a lot of reaching out going on in this response. Yeah. Reach out. I've noticed this with a lot of companies now. There's a lot of reaching out. We want to reach out to our customer, reach out to you. We're going to reach out to the world. Anyway, sorry. He continues to say that he will reach out to you directly to apologise and to inform you of the way they've managed to resolve this. So I don't know, have you heard anything from him?
I have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had the same email that you had. Then I had a further email a little while later with the tracking details. And guess what? At 20 to 12 this morning, a box arrived with 3 packs of Finish tablets in, 85 in each. So that's 255 tablets. I worked it out because I know you gave me a hard time. Works out at 11.5 each. So I'm thrilled.
Right. Wow.
Plus, I haven't got my refund yet, but yeah, I checked this morning; it wasn't there. But I'm absolutely, 99% certain that it will arrive. So.
Well, I mean, it's fantastic. And I want to thank them very much indeed for getting it sorted. I mean, it's just, look, to put it in layman's terms, every now and then cock-ups occur. And this was obviously just a bit of a cock-up with the order. It's a shame that when you then kind of tried to raise it with them and say, help, what's going on with my order? It's a shame that at that point they didn't identify it, because if they had, they would have managed to resolve the issue and you would never have needed to come to me. But they've done that now. They've made everything right. I'm going to go... Do you know what I'm going to do? Listen to this. Oh. What I have done, I have just left one honk. And that one honk is waiting until you've got the refund as well for the money that you've paid them.
Perfect.
Does that sound okay?
Yeah, that sounds brilliant. Thank you so much for you and your team. I really appreciate it.
Well, it's a pleasure, and we wait to hear from you very soon. And this weekend, well, you're going to be on a dishwashing frenzy, aren't you? I think I'll bring all my crockery round for you to do as well, if that's all right.
I'll do it willingly.
Oh, lovely, beautiful. Thank you very much indeed.
Hello.
Good afternoon. I gather you have a consumer problem. Tell me all about it without naming any company names, please.
Yes, thank you. So on Wednesday the 5th, I purchased some plasterboard for a job that I'm carrying out. So it's quite a big job. It's ripping out the old ceiling, repairing it with new plasterboard, and then replastered.
Mm-hmm.
Like I say, I bought the plasterboard on the 5th. Got it to the job, started boarding the ceiling, and noticed part of the backing paper on the board that was coming away from the chalk, almost like it wasn't adhering to the board. So I managed to get the ceiling all plasterboarded, and yesterday went in to start plastering it.
Mm-hmm.
Got the first coat done, and then noticed almost like blisters coming through on the plaster. On the ceiling. So probably best way to describe it is if you burnt yourself with hot oil, and then you get them sort of blisters on your arm, on your skin.
Yeah.
That's what it looked like. So I left it 5-10 minutes, went back to it, and noticed that the blister was getting bigger. So when you put any pressure onto it, it's the paper that's coming away from the plasterboard.
And can I just ask, when you first kind of started using the plasterboard, you said you noticed that the paper was coming away from the back. Am I right? You'll have to forgive me. I'm not very good with building materials or anything like that. But am I presuming that plasterboard is kind of it's a lump of what looks like a plastery material in between two skins of a kind of cardboardy type material? Would that be right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a chalk base. So yeah, as I said, like with the backing, I saw the backing, parts of the backing, like peeling off, if you like.
And why did you, when you noticed that, why did you not take it back to your supplier to say, look, I think there's a problem with this stuff you've given me. It's all the paper's coming away from the chalk backing.
Well, I was 4 boards deep in doing the ceiling.
Right.
So 4 sheets was already up, which they seemed to be fine. The fact that I was screwing the boards up because it was the backing didn't lead me to say there would be any problems with the front of the board. It all looked fine. If it was damaged or anything like that, I wouldn't have used it anyway, or even bought it from the start. So yeah, it's
well, it's clearly not right, is it? So I presume when you started seeing all this blistering coming up, you thought, right, well, I'm going to have to take this down and redo it because this is not. There's something wrong with the plasterboard.
Yeah, correct. So usually with plastering, you give 2 coats. So I stopped on the first coat because it would have been like me chasing my tail if I carried on. Because if it is the paper coming off the front of the board, putting more on and more on is just going to make it pull, more weight going on, heavier it's going to be. So I stopped and contacted the supplier's head office straight away, and told them my problem. And they were, relatively helpful in terms of like pointing me in the right direction. Because it was a in-store purchase, they couldn't do anything for me. So I had to deal with the store that I purchased the products from. So I rang that branch up straight after that phone call, and had a very snotty conversation with one of the people working there.
Well, it's a shame it's snotty because ultimately it sounds to me as if you've, in good faith, gone and purchased materials for a job from their company. They've sold you defective materials, which has now, left you with an absolute headache because I presume the customer whose house it was you were redoing this plasterboard for is not very happy.
No, exactly that. And, I was stressed out yesterday because of what happened. But it almost come across like they were trying to, it was almost like she took it personally and she got all defensive, saying that, she's been in the business for 13 years and never come across this problem. I've been in the game for 15 plus years and never come across this problem, but doesn't necessarily mean that this problem has never happened.
Yeah.
And
there's no way that you could be blamed in terms of the plaster that you were mixing and then putting on the ceiling that then went in this kind of blistery effect. There's no way that it could be anything to do with the plaster. It's definitely the plaster board,
I bought the plaster on the 6th. The day I bought it, the morning I started plastering from the same store.
Yeah.
I've taken pictures of the barcode of the sell-by date on the bag. It was a brand new bag of plaster.
So what had the company offered to do, if anything?
So I spoke to the manager this morning, hoping to have a better phone call than what I did yesterday. And all they are going to offer me is to bring my receipt down. They will replace the plasterboard and refund me the money for the plasterboard.
So they'll give you free plasterboard to finish the job?
Yeah.
Right. And what would you like?
Well, so the job total for all the work that I've carried out here is £940 with materials and labour.
But I don't quite understand. That's the amount that you're going to charge the customer for finishing this job.
But because of what's happened, I can't just replaster over what's up there. I have to start again. I have to do the job again. So I have to leave the best job possible for the customer and for my standards of working. I have to take down the ceiling again, reboard the ceiling and replaster the ceiling. So, I'm a week in this job and I'm back to square one sort of thing. And replacing the plasterboard just isn't going to cut it.
So you would like the company that you purchased the plasterboard from that appears to be faulty to not only replace the plasterboard for you, but also to reimburse you for your time that you're going to have to now spend putting this job right because of their faulty plasterboard?
If I'm well in my rights to do that, then yes, that is that's the road I'd like.
I don't know, to be honest. Did you purchase this as a business transaction or as a consumer?
Well, it's through my own personal debit card, so yeah, it would have been as a consumer.
Right. Okay. Well, I mean, I think I can certainly get a call into this company and make the argument to them that they've sold you defective product that through no fault of your own is now going to have a knock-on cost consequence for you because you're going to have to put it all right for this customer. And I can certainly ask them to have a look at this. Let's see how we get on. Tara, I'm going to pass James back. Let's get some detail and go and have a word.
Okay.
Now, Philip bought a laptop a couple of years ago. In the middle of the pandemic, things went wrong with it.
Forward-facing camera just stopped working. No fault of my own. It just packed up. So, the camera you use for Zoom calls, that kind of thing, which everyone's using at the minute. Initially, I took it back into the manufacturer's store. I know that's not the right place to take it, but they've always been helpful before, and I just thought I'd go and ask the question, what was wrong with it? Could anything be done with it? And they told me nothing they could do, but to repair it, it was going to be £550 plus VAT, so £660 to repair it, because they need to take out the whole screen to get to the camera, which means replacing everything. And they advised I took it back to the high street retailer, which I did. Took it over to them. They said nothing they could do because it was out of its 2-year warranty.
Well, Philip knew his consumer rights. He felt as if the camera, through no fault of his own, had not lasted for a reasonable amount of time. He even managed to get a report from the manufacturer to say that the fault wasn't caused by him, and yet the retailer was refusing to assist him. So I went off to speak to them on his behalf. Philip's back on the JVS show. Hello, Philip.
Hello, Jonathan.
As you know, this retailer is John Lewis. And I spoke to them, they came back with this. They said, we apologise for the difficulty that Philip has had in seeking a repair for his Apple MacBook Pro. Having reviewed the report provided by Apple in more detail, we've assessed that it is unclear as to the reason for the product fault. We have therefore agreed to cover the cost of the repair, as quoted by Apple, and are in the process of letting Philip know. Well, of course, this came back towards the beginning of this year when we were very much still in lockdown. So there was a bit of a delay in terms of getting the laptop into Apple so that they could fix it, and then you get it back and then send John Lewis the bill, which is the way it was going to work. When we last spoke, you had received your laptop back, it's fixed, and in fact the bill was a bit less than originally they had suggested it would be, which is good news for John Lewis. You were getting the bill sent over to them. What's happened, Philip? Have they now settled that bill?
They have, yeah. They called me about a week and a half ago, and the money was in my account by last Wednesday.
Fantastic.
So yeah, all paid up, all fixed, all working.
All done, all dusted. We can move on with our lives, and thank John Lewis very much indeed for getting it sorted out. I will give them the horn. Philip, if you have any other issues, you know where I am.
Perfect, will do. Thank you.